This is Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily with Andrew Hustler Paterson and Michael Remis.
Happy hump day, y'all. Welcome to Winnipeg Sports Talk. Andrew Paterson, soon to be joined by Michael Remis and Connor Hellebuyck. We got a big one today. Looking forward to talking Canada at the World Cup with our old pal, former Valor FC head coach, Rob Gale. And we'll certainly get to yesterday's incredible day in the World Cup. How about Lionel Messi going into Mahomes' house, Arrowhead Stadium, or I believe as FIFA calls it, Kansas City Stadium, and putting on a performance for the ages, a hat trick for Argentina. He becomes the all-time leading goal scorer at the World Cup in the same way. Following up the 2 goals from Haaland and the deuce from Mbappe, incredible day at the World Cup. We're already underway with action today. Portugal up early on Congo, and then the Congo team got one late in the first half, so they're just about to start the second half. 1-1 right now between Portugal. We got England's first game coming up at 3. A lot of people will be fired up for that, so we will talk some World Cup. But lots more news in and around the National Hockey League, a couple coach hirings, and, of course, more people weighing in on the Connor Hellebuyck situation. We'll hear from Greg Wyshynski and Darren Dreger, who often has been known as the guy that the Jets often turn to kind of get their position out there. We've got some Dreger comments as well, so we'll get to that coming up in just a minute. A little later on, my seatmate at the World Cup on Friday and WST fan favorite Geoff Fienberg is going to jump on. We'll talk a little bit about what the fun we had Friday and then dive into Geoff's thoughts on the U.S. Open. And then Pat Gregoire will join us later on today as well. We'll have details on the WST Summer Poker Series and your opportunity to win a trip to the Coolbet Open in Estonia at the end of the summer. It's going to be a lot of fun. Listen, just before we bring in the guys, huge thanks to all the sponsors that make this show happen each and every day. Of course, our partners at Coolbet, who also sponsor CFL 110, brand new edition on the channel this morning. Check the podcast. Check it if you haven't seen it out. Featuring the return of one Jeff Hamilton of the Winnipeg Free Press. Had a great time breaking it down with Hammer today. So check that out at your leisure. Also want to thank Princess Auto, Chud's Power Sports, Clean Line Plumbing, Heating, and Electrical, the Tri-Hospital Lottery. One more week to get those tickets, folks. TriHospitalDream.com. Manitoba Battery, Aikens Lake and Breezy Bend, Royal Sports, Boston Pizza, Little Brown Jug, our friends at Travel Manitoba, the Gold Eyes, St. Vital Dental Center, Assiniboia Downs, Rollies Transfer, and we will get to a why not question of the day from Not Autocorp at Waverly and McGillivray. Fellas, what's going on? Remo, how are you? You had a nice night at the track last night, I saw.
Had a pretty decent night at the track. I'm feeling good, Huss, but also I'm in hockey off season. This is why we needed the cup to end early. Would have been Game 7 tonight, but the offseason has kickstarted. We've got hirings today, Maple Leafs and Golden Knights. We had 2 trades yesterday and plenty of rumors and speculation. Feels like the offseason, and it's awesome and great to see so many people here in chat as we're counting down to the NHL draft.
Obviously we're going to dive into all of this. Shout out to Liz. I just saw Liz's tweet from an hour ago. She's at BP Taylor and has tweeted out she's the first person camped out for the WST live show tomorrow, which is a perfect segue to remind all of you, if you got the afternoon off, if you're getting ready for the Canada game, or you just want to have a great lunch at Boston Pizza and say hi to the gang, we will be live tomorrow at Boston Pizza Taylor. 1 p.m. will be the live show. I'll get there. We'll all get there early to set up. I'll do lock shop from there as well. And then I know BP is going to be packed at 5 for the kickoff with Canada and Qatar. I actually went to Boston Pizza last night at Taylor just to, check out the surroundings and watch Messi do his thing at Arrowhead. And it's going to be great. So as I say, if you're looking for something to do tomorrow afternoon, check out live, or you just want to set up shop early, watch Bosnia, Switzerland, the other big group, the game in our group tomorrow before Canada plays Qatar. Boston Pizza Taylor, the place to be. Looking forward to seeing you there. Connor, great stuff this morning, helping us make CFL 110 happen and all that. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well. That was quite a sports night last night. You had the Messi hat trick. Unbelievable. Just, we're watching greatness, and he's 38 years old. It's kind of like LeBron in a way, he doesn't have it at the same level that they used to, but, good as he once was, not good as he ever was, kind of thing, right? Like, he was unbelievable.
I mean,
and,
I don't know about that. Like, and listen, I don't think any of us are the
questions coming in.
Do it.
Was,
like,
is he going to play the whole game? And he did, and he was awesome. But there were definitely
that day yesterday, starting off with Mbappe with 2 goals, and then Haaland making his World Cup debut, him scoring twice, capped off by a Messi hat trick, was an all-time day in World Cup history. Mm-hmm. But the funny thing is, I've heard this stuff about Messi for a while. Oh, he went to MLS. He's not the same guy. Well, he led them to the last World Cup championship, and he looked as good as anybody in the tournament last night. So I would say, he is defying time by doing what he's doing right now. But man, is it fun to watch. And you got to think of, let's put this in hockey terms for some people that don't really pay attention as much. I mean, the World Cup, I think we could compare to the Olympics. It comes around every 4 years. It's the true best on best event. I mean, this would be the equivalent of put it this way, like a Sidney Crosby. Sidney Crosby going out, and in the first game, goals in soccer are harder to come by than they are in hockey. Putting up like a 4 or 5 goal game to start things off. It was amazing. But yeah, you're right, Connor. There was the Messi mania, but a lot of other things going on, including the team, the cap that you're wearing.
Yes.
Kicking it off with a win in Boston, along with half the Tartan Army there drinking Fenway Park dry, as well as the rest of the bars in Boston.
Yeah, it's go time for the Jays. They get Kirk back from injury. Some of the bats are starting to heat up. I'm still doing a prayer circle every single night, hoping that Vladdy stops looking lost at the plate night after night. And last night was no different. But they're starting to get healthy. They're getting some pitchers back. You don't like burning Louis Varland in a 5-run game last night in the 9th inning, but a win is a win. And I know the schedule for the Jays really lightens up the next couple of weeks here. So as the sports calendar really winds down, no hockey, no basketball, I'll be watching more Blue Jays baseball along with the World Cup. And hopefully that ties us through the summer here and through all these rumors that we have to talk about here.
Yes, we're going to get to that in a minute. Shout out to my guy, Isha Boy Bruce, just popping into the chat with a friendly reminder that Italy has failed to qualify for the past 3 World Cups. And Nick Lyman, the Scots in Boston may be my favorite storyline of the World Cup right now. To drink Boston Dry beer is something else. Good on you, Scots. There has been so much amazing content on social media from the fans around it. And I will say that, being lucky enough to be there in Toronto, and obviously Qatar was different with the culture, not as many fans traveling to it, but these scenes in cities that are hosting, I spoke with my dear friend Roger in Kansas City last night, and he texted me that the city is absolutely on fire right now. And I don't think anyone could have expected I mean, you know what? Like, you have big games, you have the AFC Championship games. There's, we've seen Super Bowls not in Kansas City before, and there's fans around it. This is entirely different because you are getting the most hardcore of nations, and they're coming thousands and thousands deep. And the Argentines have just been taking over KC. The Algerians were there last night. We saw what the Dutch did in Dallas, the Scots in. There is so much more around it, and it's going to be fun. We're going to have a great conversation with Rob Gale about Canada's team, about tomorrow's match, and about the World Cup overall. But I can tell you, I'm getting messages from people down in Kansas City that just cannot believe what they're seeing because they haven't seen anything like it before. And obviously what's happening on the pitch has been phenomenal as well. But guys, Remis, you nailed it right off the bat. We've got a bunch of news to talk about. And just before we get to kind of the scuttlebutt around the Winnipeg Jets and Connor Hellebuyck, the Edmonton Oilers are the only team without a coach in the National Hockey League because, to no one's surprise, Kelly McCrimmon announced that Ryan Craig is the new head coach of the Vegas Golden Knights, getting the promotion from Henderson. But far more surprising and far more entertaining to watch the crash outs online from Leafs Nation, John Chayka has named former Kings head coach Jim Hiller, last seen making one of the worst challenges in playoff history and completely erasing the advantage that the Kings had against the Oilers 2 seasons ago. Jim Hiller is the new head coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs. And Reem, when you consider that they talked to 55 people in their search, I have to admit, kind of surprised they ended up on Hiller, and that's certainly the reaction from the GTA and Leafs Nation right now.
Yeah, we hadn't heard his name considered, and yes, when I think Jim Hiller, I think a terrible challenge in the playoff series against Edmonton that really was the turning point of the series. But when you overlook that, Huss, he was a solid defensive coach. He had been an assistant in Toronto, so he is familiar with some of the players and familiar with the market. He's been a head coach before. It does seem a bit like you're going to Craig Berube light, like a team that, crushes offense and in the favor of defense. We'll see how it works out, but a bit of
like a moose.
Yeah, a bit of an underwhelming name, but maybe he can certainly be the guy. He thought they would maybe be a bit more creative. There were some unconfirmed reports earlier about David Carl being the head coach, which would have been interesting. Were they going to give a young guy, for a rebuilding team? Like, what are the Maple Leafs? Are they trying to get back in the playoffs? Are they rebuilding here with Gavin McKenna? Certainly very interesting. So this name, again, I never heard anyone mention him as a candidate, but like Joe Pavelski, we heard more about him possibly being in there. So is yours? I don't know. It's kind of a boring hire. Is that fair? Sorry, Jim Hiller.
I think that's fair. I think part of the boring hire nature of it too, Remis, is like, yeah, we heard about so many different candidates. I read some posts that they interviewed over 50 people. Like their interview process for going through all of these coaches was very extensive. And to go through that and then land on Jim Hiller, I mean, is very interesting. I will say the 2025-26 LA Kings would have been a perfect team to play in the World Cup because they had a draw like every single night. They were the most boring team, and they were just 1-1 in OT in a shootout every single night. And you just saw their OTL number when you open the standings every single night, just climb and climb and climb. So it is interesting to see. I think it's interesting or tough to judge coaches when they go to a whole different team and system. Like, is he going to make Austin Matthews play this super defensive thing, or is he going to try and unlock him? And same with Gavin McKenna. Is he going to change his philosophy as a coach? We'll wait and see. But certainly I did not have Jim Hiller becoming Gavin McKenna and Austin Matthews head coach on my bingo card for sure.
Obviously there's been a lot of crashing out. I mean, just people losing it and not as much losing it, I should say, but just not really moved or fired up at all. I mean, I guess meh is sort of the the summary. If we put all of the tweets from Leaf Nation into the Chad GPT, he'd tell us, meh. I mean, that's basically where they're at. Vegas a little different. I think they would have probably made the move to Craig right out of Cassidy if Cassidy finished the regular season. But as Kelly McCrimmon say, Torts came in and saved their season, got them to the Cup final. They fell short. They are not going to have John Tortorella come back. And Craig is the guy moving forward, which isn't a surprise. What was interesting, though, and this is from our old pal Gary, one-time Stanley Cup champion, not two. Kelly McCrimmon told media at the season-ending night's availability that he has already granted a team permission to speak with Bruce Cassidy, and he will deal with it on a case-by-case basis going forward. And then Gary followed up with, on a follow-up, Kelly says permission was granted to a team to speak with Bruce Cassidy midway through the Stanley Cup final. So my takeaway, and I don't know whether you guys disagree, with Kelly saying that they've already given a team permission to talk to him and they will deal with it on a case-by-case basis going forward, is that they're more than happy if Bruce wants to get a job out in the East or elsewhere. But the case-by-case basis is that all cases are probably green-lit with the exception of one, and that is in Edmonton, Alberta, with the Oilers, a rival in the Pacific Division.
Kind of funny. They're happy for him to coach anywhere, and except if it's in a division rival who, would come and beat them while still being under contract with Vegas.
And they'll pay him $5 million not to do it.
Yeah, crazy. So that's well within their right. I mean, I guess he wants to coach, wants to stay sharp, but it's not the worst thing getting paid to not work. I mean, right? You can still go on TV. You can. I know Bruce Cassidy's want to stay busy. You can start a podcast. You can start a YouTube. Anyone can do that and keep the mind sharp. So maybe we shouldn't be out here crying for the Oilers and Bruce Cassidy. They let him interview for a job. He said in a case-by-case basis. Vegas. I like this, Huss. You know what? I flipped on Vegas. Good for them.
I kind of like
doing everything that it takes to win. Good for them.
I kind of like it now that the Oilers are falling on their face with Babcock. Vegas is almost saying, you know what? How about we let the PA investigate this guy that you want so badly? And then when that investigation is done about the thing that we don't know about, actually, Babcock did something, we don't know it. The thing that everyone thinks he got fired for isn't actually the bad thing that he did. So how about we investigate him? You guys figure that out. And then when the PA is done investigating Mike Babcock, then maybe we'll give you permission to interview Bruce Cassidy. I don't know. This is just Vegas being Vegas.
Yeah. Speaking of coaches in the Babcock saga, it certainly gives me something to kind of needle the EST guys about every time I jump on Lockjob every day. But Andy Strickland had a report last night related to the Babcock investigation. And this is what he had to say. Would think now that the final is wrapped up, we are headed towards a resolution with Babcock and the Oilers. Hearing, among other things, part of the NHL's investigation includes a situation that involved Patrick Laine, who, of course, was on the Blue Jackets at the time, the brief time that Babcock was the head coach of that team. And I'll be honest, I had heard some rumblings of that as well. We don't have any details on it. Patrick had his issues, taking time off for mental health, lost his father as well. And Babcock's done some notoriously scumbag things to players beforehand. And it wouldn't shock me at all if he went and really trying to make a statement when he took over that maybe was at the expense of Patrick. So I don't know. We'll see on that. Just while we mentioned Patrick Laine, Pierre LeBrun did report, Remo, that there's a decent level of interest in Patrick Laine. And he can sign a performance-based contract with low AAV because he was injured last year for more than 100 days. There is intrigue about Laine coming out of this report on the Babcock story, but also on where he goes next year. And maybe more so in Winnipeg, Reem, than in a lot of other places.
Yeah, very intriguing for Patrick Laine. We know he's got the talent, he's got the shot, but can he play, a full 200-foot game? Does he even need to? Can you just throw him out there on the power play? I mean, that shot was beautiful. You'd make noises just after watching it. So I'm very curious what's going to happen with his career and if he can get back to the player that we saw here in his first couple seasons before getting traded to Columbus. One way to get back to that, Huss, is with an off-season makeover, and I thought that's what you're going to bring up when it comes to Patrick Laine. His wife on Instagram, Jordan Lee Laine, posting this reveal video yesterday with his new hair. Here, check this out. He's gone, what is that, white? I guess he's going from the long hair to white. So that's one way, Huss, to reinvent yourself, come out with a new look.
Is it short in the back?
It looks like it. I'm trying to.
Can you zoom in? Can we get we need to get that as big as you can.
I can't do that right now, but we'll have to do it. This is what I got. I don't know what it looks like in the back. It's white, short on top. So interesting. That's one way to reinvent yourself. A makeover.
We've sacked. I don't know whether we were saying this on the show or off the show, but I mean, Laine was in full late stage Hulk Hogan hair situation, going to the NWO. I mean, I'm not sure if and listen, I love Laine, but guys get older. Some of them get hit with losing their hair earlier. We need to get this guy on a plane to Turkey, right now, get her done, and then come back with that incredible hair he had early on in his career.
Yeah.
And, make it happen. And I mean, all jokes aside, though, about haircuts, we'll definitely be following the situation about this Babcock thing. And now that this is sort of out in the public, that Laine was a key guy, I think there'll be plenty of interest, and hopefully at some point we will see it. Couple other notes from LeBrun just before we get to the latest on the Hellebuyck watch. Trouba has had talks with Anaheim, but could go to UFA. Morgan Riley will most likely be traded away. Sounds like he's got, 4 years at 7.5 left. Nico Hischier looks like he'll eventually get an extension done with the Devils. And Blake Coleman, of course, has 1 year left, so he could very well be traded. Vincent Trocheck also hired Paterson as his agent. But guys, let's get back to it. I mean, needless to say, there's been so much noise about Connor Hellebuyck's alleged, to some, trade request, his future here in Winnipeg. We've got a report from Darren Dreger, but Greg Wyshynski, the top guy for the NHL at ESPN, very connected guy. He was on Vancouver radio yesterday with, I believe, Halford and Bruff. This is what he's hearing on Connor Hellebuyck.
From my understanding, from everything I've heard, he's kind of itching to maybe get out of that market.
Yeah.
Becoming the nth American, national team player who decides he doesn't want to play in Canada anymore. And you think about some of the teams that would be in the market for him. I mean, it is an impressive lot. Not only Florida, if they move off of Bob, I think they'll be very heavy into Hellebuyck. I think the Devils, when that news about Markstrom being shopped came out, my spidey sense started tingling about that being a possibility, because they did go down that road before they went down the Markstrom road. So I was going to say I tend to believe he'll move, but I think that really comes down to how fervent he's been behind the scenes about not wanting to be there anymore, and that's anybody's guess.
Interesting from Wyshynski, and Jersey was a team, Connor, that I hadn't really spent much time thinking about. I thought
it was 2023 again, Huss.
I was just about to say, you want to talk about, asking for a mulligan. That could have happened, and we thought was going to happen, and then all of a sudden he signed his extension here in Winnipeg, which is the big reason why the Jets aren't going to be pushed into anything and aren't going to take 70% on it. And to be honest, I don't know whether I really agree with Wyshynski on that final point, that it's going to depend on how badly he really wants to get out. to me, it's going to depend on how badly other GMs want Connor Hellebuyck and whether they're willing to pay the price that would eventually make sense for Chevy to trade him.
Yeah, and taking a different angle on this, like from a Winnipeg Jets perspective, if they do want to get the offer that would make them accept and make them trade Connor Hellebuyck, what you're hoping is that when insiders are mentioning teams that could be in on Connor Hellebuyck, they're going down the list. Like Wyshynski said there's an impressive list. You're hoping the Devils, the Sabres, the Panthers. You're hoping it's not a Dylan Larkin situation where it's public, where there's only a certain number of teams, and then those 3 teams are just negotiating against one another. That lowers the price a little bit. So if he does end up getting traded, you're hoping that there's some massive bidding war, and then the Winnipeg Jets end up with the package that they want, like you've said, Huss. But I fully agree. I mean, Connor Hellebuyck has a full no move. He can dictate where he goes. If he does want to go, he can also dictate where he goes in the sense of if he wants to stay with the Winnipeg Jets. So this is getting more traction and attention. You know, we're now Wyshynski, and we're going to get to Dreger's clip in a second. This isn't the Empty Netters podcast anymore. Like, we've talked about Friedge, we've talked about Wyshynski, we're going to get to Dreger. Like, there are some big voices starting to talk about this at a national level.
Yeah. Now, I mean, the other thing that I will say, Wyshynski sort of painted this as wanting to get out of the market, and like so many of the other U.S. players, wanting to get south of the border and playing in the States, which is diametrically opposed to what Connor Hellebuyck said at the end of the year. This is all about winning. I will say this. I mean, the New Jersey Devils, like, we can talk about how terrible season the Jets had last year. Well, guess what? The Devils were a team that a lot of people picked to be a cup contender. I didn't see them playing in the first round of the playoffs. So, I mean, I guess we'll react to something when it happens, but I would get Florida, and that would be in line with what he had said before if he is going to move. But if it's just to get out of the market or whatever, then, maybe that's a positive for Kevin Cheveldayoff, because that would, I think, include way more teams that aren't necessarily right now Stanley Cup contenders. But I tend to believe Hellebuyck as far as what really drives him moving forward. And that was what Wyshynski had to say. But now, I haven't heard this yet. We'll react to this live. But there's a new insider trading from the gang at TSN. And the one thing I'll say about Darren Dreger is over the years, we've seen that he has sort of been the guy that Winnipeg and presumably Cheveldayoff have gone to when there is information that they feel they sort of need to get out. Everyone's talking about it, so Dreger's on it. Here is Darren Dreger from today on TSN's That's Hockey on what he's hearing about all the Hellebuyck noise.
Yeah, more than talk, certainly noise in the Winnipeg market, and now it's drifting to us here nationally, and mostly it's all based on speculation, but hey, it's the old adage, Gino, where there's smoke, often there is fire. And what I can tell you from Winnipeg's standpoint is that Kevin Cheveldayoff, the GM of the Jets, is at least in a position where he knows he has to listen. So yes, teams are calling, and it's likely based on what Connor Hellebuyck said as he shared his disappointment for the finish in the Winnipeg Jets season. So listening, and then you look at the needs that Winnipeg has. They very much want a number 2 center. They'd like to add a depth center, like a 4 center. They'd like to look at their blue line, and if they trade Connor Hellebuyck, Gino, then they're going to have to pay some attention to their goaltending as well. The unrestricted free agent market is so thin right now, and history tells us that Winnipeg struggles in making big trades because it's hard to lure players with trade protection to Winnipeg. But when you've got a Vezina Trophy winning goalie, who granted has a no-move clause potentially in play, and teams are calling, if the Winnipeg Jets can improve their lineup by adding a number 2 center plus, then I think Cheveldayoff is at least willing at this point to consider that.
Okay, so there, and I mean, take that for what it is. I mean, a lot of that stuff isn't really news, and to be honest, I mean, we've been saying the same thing on WST for, a couple of months. I mean, it's your job to listen. Are they outwardly shopping and looking to move Connor Hellebuyck? No. But to be honest, guys, that's a good position to be in. I mean, they've got the best goaltender in the world, the guy that won the MVP last year, and he's inked up for another 5 seasons. at arguably one of the best contract values in the league at $8.5 million, less than Bobrovsky was making for Florida the last years, $1.5 million less. But I will say, when Dreger's reporting that, knowing that he has spoken with the Jets and they are almost throwing out the second line center plus, to me, that telegraphs what the ask is, whether it has been said directly to other GMs or this is just a way of letting everyone know we could be open for business, but you better come with an offer that makes us legitimately consider moving our number one most important player and greatest player of the 2.0 era and arguably in Jets history.
Reminds me of a long-time Chevyism that he would always say in press conferences, Huss. When the phone rings, you answer it. And the Winnipeg Jets, look, as currently constructed, they have a lot of holes to fill. Dreger mentioned a couple of those: help on defense, help on center, whether it's second line or a depth center. And what's the best way to get a number of pieces and players, draft picks? It would be Connor Hellebuyck. There are teams out there that need a goalie. We've talked about Florida, New Jersey, Buffalo. Are those the teams, and what are they willing to pay? Florida seems like a pretty natural fit, as they're losing out on Bobrovsky, or potentially as he becomes set to become a free agent July 1. As you mentioned, his salary was $1 million more than Hellebuyck. And I think for the Jets, maybe it is time to sell high on Hellebuyck. This guy had never been injured his entire career, and then he's on the other side of 30, and he just got injured this past season. Maybe the Jets have had the best years of this player, and he's about to begin the decline. And if they can get a big haul that can certainly help them after having an absolutely miserable season, and you've seen other teams around the league, win a Stanley Cup with a waiver wire pickup in goal. Well, the Jets certainly have belief in goaltending coach Wade Flaherty, as they've had him around for years, and you've seen what he's done here. Maybe this is something that could be a positive for the Winnipeg Jets. So as you said in the Instagram reel we put out, they're going to sit back and wait for the right offer, though. They're not just going to give him away for nothing because, well, maybe, as Wyshynski says, he's unhappy with the market. And that could mean, he said he likes living here. We think it means, their ability to win now and win a Stanley Cup.
Yeah, like so many things that are said publicly by sports figures and, frankly, the media, there often is an angle. Helly, to me, has always been a little different. And I've said this a million times for years on this program and back on the old station. He was always my favorite guy to listen to because you never knew what he was going to say. But when he said it, you knew that he meant it. He didn't have much of a filter. He said some weird stuff that made people kind of wonder, what is this guy talking about? But he had that inner belief, whether it was talking about his own game, whether it was talking about the team, where things are at. That was the way that he approached things and said it, I think, a lot less guarded than a lot of other players. He said it was all about winning. Maybe there's more to it and that there is the market, and maybe those celebrations after getting the Presidential Medal of Freedom, has him looking to get back closer to home with a bunch of his teammates from before. But again, when we think and talk about all of this, nothing's happening with a Connor Hellebuyck trade until Cheveldayoff has to truly consider an offer that makes the Jets. And then back to what we've been talking the last couple of days, if that does happen, does that start a little bit of a domino effect of some of those other players? Because for an organization that has been steadfast saying that, we want to win, we want to compete, which everybody should say that, if you're moving your best and most important player for a few pieces, some of which would likely be more futures, I think it does reset expectations and potentially the path moving forward that we, of course, haven't been privy to right now. Great stuff, fellas. We'll get into more of this with Ken. Heli hysteria? Is that we had quad drama? Is that what we're gonna run with now, Remo? Heli hysteria?
We've got to come up with a name, and Heli hysteria. We're workshopping Heli hysteria. Some other names: Hellebuyck watch. We did Trotz watch. The Daily Bucky or the Bucky Beat? Just following all the rumors.
The Daily Bucky. Interesting.
Or Bucky Buzz, or how about this one? Hellebuzz. I'm not sure where we're landing on these, but it's a work in progress.
Oh, dude, you and
With
your
the mosquitoes hat and the Hellebuzz.
Yeah, you and
Sensing
your
a theme
partner
here.
Chad doing great jobs behind the scenes. Awesome stuff. Connor, thanks for jumping on. Looking forward to seeing you at BP tomorrow. It should be a lot of fun.
Yes, looking forward to it. And go Canada tomorrow. I know we'll have tomorrow's show to talk about it, but I'm pumped. They need these 3 points. And looking for. Hope the Jays win tonight and Canada can get a win tomorrow.
Yeah, wear your Canada jerseys tomorrow, or wear red at minimum. Yeah. Red dress code for the show tomorrow when we get out there. All right, speaking of red, we're going to talk a little World Cup. Rob Gale is going to join us from Vancouver in just a minute, and then we'll get back to the NHL offseason with Kenny Wiebe. But folks, get those tickets for the Tri-Hospital Lottery right now before the June 25th midnight deadline. All in support of the HSC, the St. B, and the HSC Children's Hospital with the biggest grand prize ever. One of 5 dream home packages worth $1.7 million or $1.35 million cash. It's all tax-free. You should also get your tickets for the 50-50 plus. The jackpot's at $1.2 million, which means the winner will get $600K plus. And there's also the extra cash plus, which has 125 winners of $170,000 in all cash prizes. Get your tickets today at tryhospitaldream.com. You can also pick them up in person at your local London Drugs or Red River Co-op location. Our friends at Clean Line are Winnipeg's most trusted plumbers with over 40 years of fast responses, lasting results, and 24/7 emergency services across all of Winnipeg. The gang has been very busy helping people out since that monster historic storm we had last week. But they're also always ready to help you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Remember the number 204-500-2001 for Clean Line's 24/7 emergency services. And of course, they're the residential and commercial plumbing experts, along with heating and electrical services. You can schedule an appointment anytime over at cleanline.ca. Bombers off this week, but back at it next Thursday against the Edmonton Elks. Of course, Manitoba Battery, proud to power the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, is a corporate supporter of the Blue, but they're most popular with WSTers because they're the best place to get batteries with the best prices, beating the pants off the big box stores while knowing you're shopping and supporting local. They've also got the best in customer service. They'll deliver those batteries to you anywhere inside the city of Winnipeg's perimeter. But you can also pop in and get the best in customer service in-store, Logan Avenue, Dovercourt Drive. Right now, if you need a battery for your boat, your RV, ATV, golf cart, you name it, they've got it all with the best prices in town. Manitoba Battery, powering the blue and gold and powering your summer. Pop by and see them in-store today or order online at manitobabattery.com. And just before we move out to Vancouver to welcome in Rob Gale, if you have a move this summer, holler at our friends at Rolly's Transfer. The most trusted name in moving in Manitoba. They've been doing it, family-owned and operated for over 60 years right here in the Peg. And if you check out their website at rollies.com, they'll tell you all about their services. But in the top right corner, you can request an estimate. Use the promo code WST for a special discount on moving services and moving supplies for Winnipeg Sports Talk listeners. And then simply let them know when and where you're planning on moving and what needs to go. The friendly staff at Rollies will turn it around quickly with a great quote and get you locked in for the white glove treatment that Rollies has been famous for over 60 years. For all your moving needs, make it Rollies, the most trusted name in the game. Find out more today online at rollies.com. All right, Ken Wiebe on the Jets off season and all this Hellebuyck scuttlebutt. But right now, let's get ready for tomorrow's big Canada World Cup game in Vancouver against Qatar with our good friend, former Valor FC head coach, Rob Gale. What's up, Gailey? It's great to talk to you during the World Cup.
Hey, absolutely, mate. Great to see you, and thanks for having me on. And a few more greys in the yellow hair these days, but That's what working in football will do for you.
You're looking like $1 million US tax-free as always. And listen, just what a start to the tournament. I mean, I want to get into Canada specifically in a moment. I just returned from the weekend in Toronto, went out to the opener against Bosnia, an event I will never forget. I was telling you off air beforehand. I mean, the emotion of being in that building, singing the Canadian anthem in a true Canadian home game. It was something that I won't forget. And, the atmosphere on Toronto, you could really feel it building. But from everything that I've seen out west right now, I think it's going to be cranked up even more. World Cup fever is in Vancouver, and this is now Canada's home, hopefully for more than 2 matches. Your boots on the ground in Vancouver. I mean, what is it like around the city right now as Canadians, but also the world, show up for the biggest stage in the game?
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head, mate. The tournament's been really entertaining so far. A couple of shocks, as we always love as well. All 3 home nations got a positive result, and the excitement around each of those teams. And you can just feel it building here. You can just feel we're bringing the pro license and all the coaches, national team, and some of the professional coaches to the game, using this as a learning. But the excitement from fans, officials, everyone around it. And it just gets amplified because it is the world's game, 48 countries involved. It's quite amazing to see, and the different colors, the multiculturalism of the event, and everybody's pumped, and especially so for Canada tomorrow, with a real feeling that this is the time that we're going to make our mark in this tournament.
Well, I told a bunch of my friends that are heading out to Vancouver that I went to Qatar in 22 and saw our first goal in the World Cup. I went to Toronto and saw our first point in the World Cup. I now hand the baton to everyone going to the game in Vancouver tomorrow as they see, hopefully, our first win and 3 points in the World Cup. Crucial to get 3 against Qatar. But just thoughts on Canada's performance in game number 1 against Bosnia last Friday.
I think a little nervous, a little edgy, first half especially, and Jesse and the players afterwards referenced that. They felt like they were a lot more themselves. Second half started to be more purposeful in the pressing strategies, more direct in the play, creating obviously opportunities beyond just like set pieces. So I think they've settled in now. It's been a long time coming, this, and still for the squad and how young they are, there's a lot of players this was their first experience, and obviously at home as well, there's that heightened expectation. So I'm expecting them to be a lot more like that second half performance. And because it's Qatar, and with respect to them, they still feel there's a genuine feeling that this is a game that we can win, and this is the time to make that history. And I'm just hoping that they don't overlook that, don't get sucker punched on a counter-attack, because they do have some threats in the opposition that can hurt us. Deal with the set pieces, be defensively organised, but really be the protagonist, get on the front foot and go and make history tomorrow.
Do you think the lineup will be much different? I mean, Ahmed came in for Miller. I thought he really made a difference when he was in, and kind of shockingly, Jonathan David came out. And it was Kyle Larin that was the equalizer of the goal that we needed so badly to avoid disaster. Any thoughts on just how different this lineup might look tomorrow? And I mean, I guess as part of that, any hope of Davies, Bombito, a couple of the big guys that we've been hoping could be available in Qatar? Those guys are probably a little later on in the tourney. Hopefully, we're still playing.
Yeah, I definitely don't think that. And you look at the footage from the training sessions and other things, that Alfonso's going to be quite ready, and Bayern Munich will be monitoring that very carefully as a big asset as well, and the history of that. So I wouldn't expect either of those two in the back line. It'll be very interesting to see if Kyle plays alongside Jonathan. As you said, Jonathan, that's the first time he's ever been taken off by Jesse Marsch. It's not a common appearance, but indicative of his form for Juventus this season and the kind of struggles that the team has had in general for open play. Delighted to see Kyle, both of those former lads that I've worked with, but delighted for him to kind of silence his critics and put one in. But for me, Ahmed is the obvious replacement. Came in, looked terrific. I'll be very surprised if we don't see all three of them in the starting lineup tomorrow.
You know, getting that goal and the result was, I mean, a loss would have been devastating. The draw was enough to move forward. And then I'll be honest, maybe one of the most stunning results of the entire tournament so far was Qatar scoring in 4 minutes of extra time to tie the Swiss. I mean, just thoughts on the group right now, Rob, and what Canada's up against and the chances of potentially, if they can get this win tomorrow, actually winning the group, which would mean round of 32 and potentially round of 16 on home soil in that same stadium.
Yeah, look, when you're in these tournaments and tournament football, if you can't win the game, you hope that other teams take points off of each other. And that's played out across a number of groups. There's been a lot of draws so far, right? So I wasn't. Look, Swiss, they were the masters of their own downfall. They should have won that game. They had the opportunities to put the game to bed. But credit to Qatar, and they do have some threats, and that's been a program that's been built for many, many years. We took our youth teams there in 2016, and they were preparing for 2022 and beyond. So I think the group is absolutely poised. The opportunity is there. This becomes such a crucial game and a privilege for us to be here. Having had those results, we now get to see those four teams. We get to see the New Zealand group and Belgium and Egypt. So we're just really excited about all of those groups and how well balanced they are and the genuine opportunity that is there for us as the home nation.
Now, with Qatar and the Swiss tying in their first game, everyone's got 1 point. Everyone's 1-4, 1 against. What are the keys for Canada finishing first? I would imagine it's obviously winning this game tomorrow. How important is the number of goals Canada puts up? And what would a win do to the scenario of the Swiss game, knowing that Canada would love nothing more than to stay in Vancouver and win their group?
Yeah, I mean, it amplifies the pressure on everybody. When a group is tight like that, the 3 points cannot be understated. And you really go into it. You don't care if it's 1-0. Obviously, you'd love to get a few and put yourself in a great position. But to go into that final game on 4 points, home nation, Swiss being the highest ranked and favourites in the group, all the pressure then goes onto them. And with the home crowd, the sea of red that's going to be there, it really puts everything in our favour. That's why tomorrow's game cannot be understated. It's an opportunity. It's a game on paper. And with everything around it, we should win. Unfortunately, the game's not played on paper. It's played on grass. And we'll have to see if we can rise to the occasion.
Well, it is 5 p.m. again tomorrow. We're going to be down at Boston Pizza doing the show beforehand, and I think a lot of people hang around for the game. The atmosphere is around here, and certainly on the weekend in Toronto for the games. And the sights we've seen of these visiting fans coming in and enjoying North America and showing the culture that they have of the sport has just been phenomenal. I can't imagine a better start of the action on the field and around the games than we've seen so far. Stepping away from Canada for a minute, I have to ask you about last night. Lionel Messi goes into Mahomes' house, Arrowhead Stadium, and puts forth, a legendary performance. Listen, I'm not a historian of the game, but it's pretty clear that Lionel Messi, if he's not the best to ever do it, he's certainly in the conversation. And at 37, 38 years old, goes out and starts the World Cup with the freaking hat trick. What do you have to say about what we saw last night from Lionel Messi in Argentina?
Look, I think the discussion going into yesterday was like, this is the day that the big stars come out to play, right? And Mbappe starts it off and he gets a couple, and then Haaland pops in a couple for Norway, and we're sitting there watching the Argentina game, and Messi's got one. I'm like, oh, I'd love to get a couple, and then he gets the third and breaks the record for goals scored at the World Cup. So in the World Cup conversation, regardless of your feelings around players, he has scored more goals in men's World Cups than any other male player. You say 38, turning 39 this year. There were all the question marks about would he play? Would he be a part of the squad? He's over here in North America. everybody wants to come out and watch him. And when the bright lights are shining, he shines brighter than anybody else. And an interesting thing with Zinedine Zidane's son in goal for the Algerians. I mean, the history of that and him being able to put 3 past him, like, what a game, what a player. And for me, that really just ignited the tournament there yesterday with the stars turning up and showing us what they're made of.
What we got the English lads finally getting onto the pitch this afternoon against the Croatians. I saw the Croatian crew marching through Dallas earlier this morning. I'm sure the English have something similar going on as we speak. Thoughts on the English team and what their chances are for in the group as well as big picture for the tourney?
Yeah, great group, competitive group. Can't overlook anyone. Croatia has been a thorn in our side at World Cups going back to 2018 and previously in qualifying campaigns. But I think it's a Croatia team with respect that wasn't or isn't as good as it was 8 years ago and are coming to the end of their cycle. England is full of talent, as we know. Defensively is our biggest question mark. But you've got Harry Kane at the other end, and I'm just hoping he's looked at the stars of yesterday and thought, right, I've got to get a couple today to put myself in that equation for the Golden Boot as well. So I think it's going to be a tight group. There's no easy games. Cape Verde have shown, anything can happen in this World Cup as always. But I think England, the quality, the depth, Jude Bellingham, Declan Rice, whoever they start on the wings, whether Saka, Madueke, Gordon, there's enough talent in there that they are the favourites for the group. They've had very big tournament experience under Southgate the last couple of cycles and in the Euros. Kind of a bit like my Arsenal team, mate. They've been the bridesmaids, but not the bride. And we're just hoping they can show up and put themselves in the equation in the latter stages of the tournament again.
Of the games so far, you mentioned Cape Verde. I mean, their goalie, he was like Connor Hellebuyck in the Olympic gold medal game. I mean, it was frustrating for a team like Spain to go through that. Like for a top team that is expected to romp over a lesser opponent. But what does a draw without being able to score in the first game do moving forward? I mean, it's not like they're in the verge of being out or anything like that, but from a coaching perspective, when you don't get the result you want in such a short tourney, what does that do to the urgency and the preparation for the upcoming game?
Well, look, they rested. I think they saw the Germany-Curacao game and they saw this game as, one that they could get players some time and some minutes, and then they had to throw on some big stars towards the end, and they've shot themselves in the foot a little bit. But the last time they won it, they lost their first game. Argentina and Saudi Arabia in the last World Cup, very first game. It's not the end of the world. The better teams get the wheels moving and then become stronger as the tournament goes on. We always say it's a marathon and not a sprint. But the urgency will be there in that next game. And I wouldn't like to be the team playing Spain in the second game after that disappointment. And obviously they should have won. But as you said, the keeper, what a heroic performance that was.
Hey, one of the games that probably the most fun 45 minutes I've watched so far was the second half of the Netherlands-Japan game. Netherlands obviously have a squad, but the Japanese are an intriguing team to me, Rob. I mean, they're like a foot shorter than most of the guys that they're playing against. And yet the way they move the ball and create chances and finish on them, really impressive. I mean, is this a team that you think will qualify, but also might have the opportunity to do a little bit of damage come the round of 32?
I've played against the Japanese at youth levels, and on both male and female side, they're always one of my favorite teams to watch. The culture, the mentality, the endless running, the quality of their combination plays, it just shows, and that's the beauty of the game. And look at Messi. You don't have to be 250 pounds and 6'8" to be successful in our sport, and that's why we love it. So the Japanese are always competitive. It was a terrific second half, a bit like the French Senegal, back and forth, and really came alive as it went on. I don't know if they've got enough quality right now. I've seen better Japanese squads. and Holland would have felt that they should have won that game. But I love the Japanese football teams, and I love the mentality and the culture around them at every level.
You know, you mentioned the big boys doing it up yesterday. I mean, Messi with his performance, Mbappe with the couple, and France winning 3-1. But I have to ask you about Norway and Holland. Just looking at that dude, Rob, I mean, that is one massive Viking mother bleeper. I mean, he is it's just an intimidating individual. Is this more a team that's all about him? Or, I mean, could Norway be a team like with one of the world's superstars, could, make a name for themselves come the elimination round?
Yeah, you've seen it before in Euros, like Denmark, Greece, teams that are a bit of the underdog. I don't know if you saw that Viking video and photographs of the Norway team as well.
The coolest thing I've ever seen.
Absolutely awesome. And they were there enjoying the ice hockey as well. And they're really making the most of this experience. And you've got players like Odegaard in that squad as well. You've got some top players. The fans, that's going to be the next sensation. A bit like the Icelandic crowd before and the clap that took all over the world. So, no, they've got some elite footballers throughout the squad. And Haaland, obviously, he's so difficult to defend against. He's good in the air. He's strong. He's pacey. He likes the physical side of the game. If you poke the bear, you're going to get bit. So it'll be very interesting to see how far they can go in this tournament. But they definitely have more than just Haaland, but he is the standout.
Rob Gale is with us. Talk of World Cup. I mean, let's get it back to the home team, Canada, tomorrow against Qatar. We've already seen, I think they had almost 4 million people in the Friday afternoon. I think with this later game, we should be looking at, I would suggest, maybe upwards of 5 million plus for this game. All eyes on Team Canada. Rob, when you look at this team, and you mentioned we may see a couple changes to the lineup, what are the keys for Canada? What will you be looking for in the first half from the Canadians, other than scoring, to show that this team is on the right path? And, obviously the ultimate goal is to win this game, but keys to beating Qatar, and what does this team need to do to build into that Swiss game and hopefully the round of 32?
Look, they've been working very hard under Jesse the last couple of years now on their identity and that Red Bull mentality, the high pressing, creating the net, making sure it's tight spaces front to the back, winning the ball higher up the field. You'll expect Qatar to be very much like they were against the Swiss, in a low to medium block at best. We've got to make sure we don't get counter-attacked, especially down the sides of our centre-back. If there's one areas we're a little bit vulnerable, it's having our centre-backs get drawn into wide areas and then overloaded centrally. But if we can control the tempo, be the protagonist, make them feel that pressure, that's when Jesse Marsh's teams are at their best. High pressing, on the front foot, keeping the opposition pinned into their own half, winning those second balls and knockdowns. We have quality to score. We need to maximize set pieces. We need to maximize our wide areas and our ability to play down channels and get numbers into the area for sure. But I think Jesse will be saying, however the game goes and whatever the result, we need to show our identity. We need to show our DNA, and that is front-footed, aggressive, high-pressing, regain high, and really try and take the game and make them feel like they are playing against the 55,000 that are going to be in red and roaring them on tomorrow.
Rob, speaking of, building off all of that as far as what they want to do as a team, who are the players that will be counted on to lead the way for Canada tomorrow?
We're going to have a lot of the ball. And where we got to be creative is not to get drunk in possession and feel like we're, on top just because we have the ball, because that'll play into Qatar hands. We need to be incisive. So you've got to look to your Stefan Eustachios. You've got to look to, hopefully, Ahmed, your wide players, Kone. We've got to get Jonathan David and Kyle Larin half-turned in and around the edge of the box, facing the opposition goal, getting deliveries into that area, getting numbers in the box to support what will be obvious advantage in possession, but you need to be purposeful in possession. And I think if we get into a slower game or we feel comfortable just because we have the ball, that will play into Qatar's hands and we'll be vulnerable in the counter-attack. So we've got to be aggressive. We've got to really force the issue and create more chances from open play. That's been the downfall of this team over the last season.
Gailey, I can't wait for tomorrow, but I'll tell you what, I'm more than ready for England this afternoon and the other games. Something about these first 2 weeks of the World Cup with the games all day. I mean, it is so much fun. We often say the Stanley Cup playoffs for hockey fans is the best couple weeks because you got 4 games a night. I mean, it really feels like we have that right now with the best in world soccer and football, and obviously even more special with what our Canadian team hopefully is capable of and where they're going to be doing it. You are going to be there. Hey, hopefully we get the win tomorrow. We may have to make this a tradition before Canadian games, getting you on for the WST bump for the lads. Can't wait for tomorrow, Rob, and hopefully we can do this again during the World Cup. Really appreciate the time and always great catching up with you.
Yeah, absolute privilege, mate, to have the tournament in our home country and to come on and chat with you always. So let's do it. Come on, Canada.
Go Canada, go. And I'll hit you up next week. Thanks for doing this, pal.
Cheers, mate.
All right, great stuff with Rob Gale. Appreciate him jumping on. What a beauty he is. Cannot wait for the game tomorrow. Again, tomorrow we're at Boston Pizza. Taylor, come down if you want to watch the Bosnia-Swiss game. Huge game in our pool. And then I know the place is going to be bumping by 5 p.m. for Canada, Qatar, game 2 of our matches at the World Cup. They're going to be giving away for the Canada games a jersey, Team Canada jersey. They've got some other great promos going on. You can jump on that MVP platter, say what's up to some of the WST crew. So BP Taylor tomorrow for us, but every Boston Pizza in town is going to be having the Canada Red watch party for tomorrow, 5 p.m. at all of your BPs, but maybe we'll see you down with us at Boston Pizza. Taylor, I want to shout out our friends at Princess Auto for their great support of WST. Of course, next Thursday, Princess Auto Stadium is going to be rocking for Bombers Elks. Every day right now is rocking at the brand new Princess Auto flagship store at 500 Panet Road. You got to see it to believe it, folks. It is massive. It's bigger and better in almost every way. We've got an amazing restaurant there, cranking out delicious smash burgers and fries. You can get a beer there, free ice cream for the kids. You can walk around and, man, there's a little workshop there. You can shoot a crossbow, hunting, camping, fishing gear out the yin-yang. It is, as I said, it is the place to be right now. And I know all of you Princess Auto guys have probably been there already, but if you haven't, what are you waiting for? Get down there, Panet Road, 500, the brand new flagship store for Princess Auto right here in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Princess Auto, proud sponsors of WST, and of course the Blue and Gold. Big weekend coming up. You know, we were talking about Manitoba Battery and all the cool things that people need batteries for. You know where they got all those cool things? Chud's Power Sports up in Gimli at the corner of Highway 8 and 231. The Derminator and the gang are ready for summer, moving boats, outboard motors, RVs, motorcycles, dirt bikes, ATVs, side-by-sides, golf carts. They've been doing it for 80 years. They've got the best staff and most experienced team there. Great financing options for both new and used materials. And we should mention the coming up on Saturday is the Covey Moto Demo Ride Day. I was checking out those Covey Motos when we were out there. They looked really, really cool. But this is the time where you can go out and ride it, feel it, and decide for yourself. So Saturday, June 20th, that is this weekend, up in Gimli. Experience the Covey lineup at Chud's Power Sports. Check them out online as well, chudspowersports.com. And hey, big shout out to my man, Dr. Terry. I know Dr. Terry and the St. Vital Dental Center gang are fired up for Canada at the World Cup. Actually sat for a bit of the Canadian women's match, the Desiree Scott retirement game with Terry and his daughter. Of course, when he's not out watching soccer, supporting Canada, he's taking care of Winnipeggers, Manitobans' dental needs with the great team at St. Vital Dental Center, as they've been doing for generations of families. If you're looking for a great long-term dental home for you and your family, or looking for a new spot to get some work done on your grill, they have it all. Beautiful new facility at 167 St. Anne's Road, convenient free parking right behind the building, and a full array of dental services for patients from 6 months to 99 plus. From cleanings and checkups to things like dental implants, they do it all. Make an appointment today, stvitaldental.ca, and make sure to tell them that you heard about St. Vital Dental Center and all their fine work right here on Winnipeg Sports Talk. All right. Moving back to hockey from the footy, let's welcome in international man of mystery, but more importantly, back on the Manitoba Golf Tour, Ken Wiebe has been cleared for contact with a golf club, and he's back on WST. How are you feeling?
Unmute me. Hey, I'm doing awesome, Huss. Great to be with you. Happy to report that the first stop on the MB Golf Tour 2026 was, in fact, Grand Pines on Monday. The hand survived nicely. Had a follow-up appointment with the surgeon on Tuesday. He's happy with how things looked. No birdies to report, but course was in good shape, and happy to report a few pars at least. So it was a fun day. It was great to be back out there.
You must feel like the weight of the world is on your shoulders, folks. I mean, when Ken wasn't able to initially do the attorney or the thing that Munsey puts on for Golf Manitoba, I knew that this was serious.
Serious business.
And then just thinking about, it being nice outside, the long wait, and you not being able to get out on the course, figured was probably definitely challenging your mental health. But you're back, we're back, and you know what's challenging my mental health and a lot of Winnipeg Jet fans' mental health?
I can guess.
Stuff around Connor Hellebuyck. Ken, where are you? It seems people have gone from one side of it, he has demanded a trade. He wants out of the market. Wyshynski suggested that he wants to be in an American market like many of other U.S. players. We heard what he said, wanting to be on a winner. Has he lost faith in the Jets? And just how forceful has this trade request or suggestion been? Others are saying, listen, this is just speculation from what he said at the end of the year. It really hasn't been officially reported by anyone truly credible. And then we heard what Darren Dreger said, and we all know that Dreger's got a pretty good line into that Jet front office, and if they want something out, they will use him to do that. And now he is on That's Hockey today saying that, they have to listen. So make sense of it all for us. Where are you right now as we talk about this on the 17th of June, in less than 10 days from the draft?
Yeah, Huss, I mean, it certainly seems to be one of those things that, I would say a week ago it was probably looking like it was probably maybe going to fade into the distance. But, when you have people like Elliot Friedman saying there's a lot of noise around Hellebuyck, and when you have people like Darren Dreger saying they're at least listening, to me, I still don't believe that there's been an official demand or whatever you want to put it, but I would have to say that this, to me, it's starting to sound and look a little bit more like the Patrick Laine situation, Huss, where the whole open to a new possibility sort of scene. I don't know that the push and pull and the banging on the table has happened, but it seems like that there's maybe some, let's just say maybe it sounds like the discussions are going to be intensifying. And to the point you've been making all week, I mean, we've seen this before. We've seen it before with prominent players, but we haven't seen it with all due respect. I would say, I don't know that we've seen it. I guess you could argue that Laine was a franchise pillar at the time or trending towards being one, but he was a 21-year-old franchise pillar, not a 3-time Vezina Trophy winner and Hart Trophy winner, even though he was in the running for the Rocket that year with Ovechkin. So I would say this is would be the most prominent potential move. But I mean, to your point, Huss, I mean, even though Hellebuyck is the one with the full no move clause and will dictate, he has the ability to either rubber stamp or quash any potential deal. I think history has shown us that Kevin Cheveldayoff isn't just going to want to wash his hands of this potential scenario and say, yeah, sure, take the best offer and move along. I mean, I think you nailed it. I mean, if you're Kevin Cheveldayoff and Bill Zito is calling, you're not saying yes to Mackie Samosevich and the 9th. I mean, I don't see that as something that is that pressing that it has to get done in the next week or two. That to me, you got to have Lundell or Lundell at their bare minimum plus the 9th overall pick, and even then, I mean, you have to see if someone's going to make a better offer than that, Huss, right? I mean, anyways, I would just put it this way: I don't see it as a foregone conclusion, but I definitely think the chances have definitely risen higher than a level that I thought, even a week or two ago, when I thought it was very obvious that Hellebuyck would want to be part of the solution. I know you've been hitting this all week also, Huss. I mean, when you drop the type of detonation bomb on the way out the door, you kind of expect the most important player to be part of the solution. Now, again, that's not a knock on Hellebuyck, but we've been hearing for years about how Connor Hellebuyck is a leader on this team, and we've seen him develop into one in front of our very eyes. So at the same time, I mean, Connor Hellebuyck's 33 years old, and you can certainly understand why a player would want to push fast forward on that pursuit of winning a Stanley Cup, especially when one of your longtime teammates happens to be lifting the trophy over his head 2 days ago. So
that's a good thing. I do want to get to that with you as well as the trade. I should mention, though, this segment is brought to you by your Prairie Toyota dealers in the Toyota Tacoma with the available panoramic multi-terrain view monitor, which gives you a live underfloor view to navigate even the toughest terrain. When it's time to load up, the available power liftgate makes loading your gear in and out in a cinch. And it's the most powerful Tacoma ever. So experience the power, capability, and convenience with the Toyota Tacoma. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Prairie Toyota dealer during Red Tag Days. Yeah, on that, I mean, just as far as, I just wanted to point it out, Ken, that, you can go in and say all those things, and I respected it from Hellebuyck. I mean, listen, he came here to win and all of that, and he's hoping to see the changes that makes them a better team that can really compete moving forward. I will say it's a little disingenuous, or it's talking out of two sides of your mouth to say that, and you hope to see the changes, and then request a trade before the Cup final's even over and all these moves even start. So I guess we'll see how this all shakes out and the truth line that. But let's get to a point, the point where I think we're in right now, where Cheveldayoff is listening and will listen and will make a trade if, in his opinion, it makes the Winnipeg Jets better. I'm not sure that's necessarily possible to make the Jets better short term if you make that trade.
Right.
The big picture would be a part of it. From your perspective, if the Jets went down that road and somebody got Kevin Cheveldayoff to sign off and say, yes, we will do this, what does that deal look like for Winnipeg, and what are the key pieces that would have to come back to make Chevy say, okay, the best Jet ever is no longer biding his time in Winnipeg with 5 years left on one of the best contracts in hockey?
Yeah, Huss, I mean, that's where it becomes interesting, right? So because we've been talking for years about the importance of the second line center, well, that obviously is top of mind. And also seeing Nikolai Ehlers and what he did and how he was never fully replaced last year, obviously is still a factor too. So, I mean, there's two available spots in the top six at right now, right, Huss? And then obviously the other part of that scenario is, the Jets are also looking to probably get an upgrade on the back end. I mean, I don't know that even, with the greatness of the resume of Connor Hellebuyck, I don't think you're filling all of the holes with just moving him. And the other part of that equation too, Huss, is that you're also, if you're moving Hellebuyck, you're also having to fill the most important position on the ice, and you're trying to fill a spot of a guy who has been the backbone of the team. How many times have we heard that word being uttered by coaches, general managers, and almost every player that's played for the Winnipeg Jets in the last decade plus here? So it's hard to, again, I understand the premise of the report. I mean, yes, if you can get the second line center and you can get a second prospect that might be able to be a top 6 forward or, top 4 defenseman, and then you find the other part of that piece in the draft, whether it's one of the defensemen being available, whether it's Smith's available at 9, or maybe you're going to Alexander Command Huss, the Swedish centerman, But again, that's more longer range. But then you're also faced with the prospect of rolling into training camp, with Stu Skinner or Lauren Brossoit or Eric Comrie, or you're hoping to find the next Brandon Bussey, but you're not finding him on waivers, right? So Dom DiVincentis had an excellent playoff, Huss, but I don't think either one of us is banging on the drum and saying DiVincentis deserves to be the number one guy going into the season. I mean, I think Dom's probably, definitely strengthened his case to be an NHLer, but more likely that is going to include another year where he's, maybe even getting the lion's share of the starts in a place where Thomas Milic was the actual Moose MVP last year. So, I mean, it's definitely an interesting time. And Huss, I mean, you've been talking about it all week, and I've been listening. And again, the natural jumping off point is that if you are moving X, you are also probably thinking about moving Y and potentially Z, right? So that's where it becomes a little bit murkier waters. Now, we know the Jets aren't going for the teardown rebuild, but if you're looking to kind of retool on the fly and kind of maybe move a couple of 30-plus-year-olds for somebody in their early to mid-20s that has team control, well, I mean, I think that, that there's some, there's parts of that plan that could make sense, but I don't think that the Jets are fully into that, plan. But I mean, again, plans occasionally have to change. But again, this is going to be a very interesting scenario, Hassan. And the unknown is that how far-reaching does that go? And I mean, Josh Morrissey is the next, star player core piece that needs a deal. But Dylan Sandberg will also need a deal in a couple of years. So. And Cole Perfetti needs a deal now. So you're looking to retool the roster regardless. You're trying to upgrade the talent, but there's risk. This is the other part, Huss. There's risk attached to either one, right? Rolling with the aging core or moving, the better parts of the aging core, and then what it means long term, and how it can impact other parts of the equation. But right now, I think it's obvious that we know this, and Hellebuyck said it. Kevin Cheveldayoff also said it. Status quo is not going to be good enough, Huss. So how they plan on moving forward will be something that'll be super interesting to monitor in the next, 2 weeks here. I mean, maybe even sooner, because again, could something happen on the draft floor? Of course. But historically, we've also seen that when Kevin Cheveldayoff is in this situation, with Jacob Trouba, with Pierre-Luc Dubois, those deals, I believe, happened, Trouba deal happened on the Monday before the draft, and the Dubois deal happened either on a Tuesday or Wednesday. So we haven't seen the draft floor blockbuster to anywhere close to this extent, but we've also, Huss, you and I have been in the building when they've happened, and we've heard the oohs and the ahs and the roars all of those things, which is part of why not being in person at the draft is so unfortunate, right? So, anyways, it'll be an interesting time to monitor, but again, I understand, whether it's a 5-alarm blaze or if the boat is taken on water. I mean, it's still a very interesting time, and to see how the navigation portion of this process is going to unfold is not just fun to watch. It will dictate how the next 5 to 10 years for the franchise goes potentially, right? So there's a lot at stake this offseason. There already was before Hellebuyck's name was even being whispered, and or the whispers are getting louder. So it'll be an interesting time to monitor. There's a lot of things happening with a lot of teams, a lot of Canadian teams, but the Jets are definitely in position to be one of those teams that that, could be pretty active in the next 2 weeks here. And again, we know that's not necessarily winning the Mitch Marner sweepstakes like Vegas did last offseason. I mean, but it's also not moving. It's not just picking away on the margins either. I mean, the Jets are looking to upgrade the talent.
Yeah. I mean, listen, like most Jet fans, you're connected to Hellebuyck. You have, enjoyed this incredible run, the trophies, the success that he's brought the club. Obviously the playoffs has been, in a few occasions. I think it's kind of exaggerated because, to be honest, I think a few of the performances by the team in the playoffs were, certainly the Vegas series and, Colorado. It was like that. What people want to just blame the goalie, but it was way, way more than that. And, would you like to keep those players forever? Yeah. And did you think that probably was going to happen when he signed the deal? For sure. But where the team is, I mean, not everyone stays in the same place for their entire career. And it is an opportunity for the Winnipeg Jets, if it comes to that, to, make a deal that significantly fills some holes that more so for Winnipeg than probably any other team are sometimes harder to fill because of the no trades and the free agency. And what makes sense for Winnipeg? Younger players under team control at the key positions that they are looking for. And that's why, obviously, the Lundell name pops. He's 24, 5 years left on his deal, $5 million a year. Stanley Cup champion. I mean, we can go down the list. Yeah. Guy's an absolute stud, would be the centerpiece. Do you think that they would be because I guess for me, I think of this deal more as the future. Like, I think that if you move off of Hellebuyck, my expectations naturally go down for this season, but you hope that it could be a small, well, I'll put it this way, it wouldn't go down from last year because that was ridiculous of how low they were. Like, I don't think they're going to go from 8th and the minute Hellebuyck's gone be picking 2nd or 3rd. I still think that they'd be better next year, based on all of that. But the point I'm trying to get at, Ken, is that the trade is made more for the big picture, I would think, from my perspective. And you'd love to get another first-round pick. You'd love to get another prospect coming in and maybe then go down that road. In your opinion, if a deal like that was made, would they be more interested in another first-round pick? Or is it players that have been drafted, maybe some guys with less term on their contracts that don't have trade protection that could come in and play right now on this team? Or the minute that Hellebuyck goes, do you think that the assets coming back outside of the key piece would be more futures?
Yeah, I mean, that's impossible to really say. I mean, it's going to be a combo of both things, Huss, right? It's going to be people that can help you now. I mean, that's why, I guess Florida is the one that the breadcrumbs continue to lead to, right, Huss? That would allow you to potentially get the 2C for the long term and get a top 10 pick, which obviously everyone would be looking for. But, how can you leverage this? What is it going to mean? And again, Brandon Bussey is the exception to the rule. So I don't think it's as easy. I know there's some folks saying, oh, well, the Jets have had Hellebuyck best in the world, or one of the best, certainly. And it hasn't led to the promised land. Then you see Brandon Bussey with 31 wins and then the last 3 important ones. And you think, oh, well, just try to find a goalie and, build the team around him. But every team's been trying to do it that way at times, various points, and it hasn't been overly successful for a lot of teams. And also, let's remind people, Huss, the previous, or 2 of the previous 6 Stanley Cup champions had Sergei Bobrovsky and Andrei Vasilevsky between the pipes, 2 workhorse guys that were on big tickets. Yes, Vasi's deal only kicked in for the second deal, but my point remains the same. Like, I know we know the NHL has kind of gone more to the job share scenario in various places, but there's also a lot of coaches and GMs sleeping a lot easier at night, knowing who the number 1 guy is and knowing that that's a guy that they can count on. So, yeah, there's going to be some combination of futures and present, but again, unless you're moving into that, somehow finding a way to work San Jose into the mix, Huss, at number 2, whether it's Hellebuyck or one of the other core pieces, you don't know that many of those guys in the top 10 are going to be jumping immediately into the lineup. So again, so for me, obviously Florida makes a lot of sense. We can connect the dots to Paul Maurice and Matthew Tkachuk and all of those things. To me, I'm actually a little bit more curious about a team like San Jose, who has the second overall pick. And, can you turn that into Ivar Stenberg and Askarov or something, like some combination of that? We know there's been lots of talk about Eklund also, but and again, who knows where it goes? I mean, who's making actual offers and how serious are those offers? That's when we're going to have a better idea. But again, another interesting one to me, Huss, is Columbus. I don't think Columbus would be very high on Hellebuyck's list necessarily, but there you're looking at a place that they have a goalie in Jet Graves, who is, a young emerging goalie. Maybe you get Graves and then you get, some combination of a Sillinger, Johnson, something like that, right? So, but unless there's another goalie in there, you're kind of rolling the dice a little bit, unless you're banking on the health of Laurent Brossoit as a UFA, or you're thinking that, Stuart Skinner or someone like him can come in and do that job. Huss. I mean, this is the one thing that people in our market, again, I don't want to sound, this is not old man shakes fist at cloud territory, but there was a time when the Jets could not get past the likes of the Edmonton Oilers or Calgary Flames when they're, they had a goaltending tandem of Stefan Beauregard and Bob Essenza, or Daniel Berthiaume and Pokey Reddick. And, the Jets have been pretty spoiled in this market, having Hellebuyck for a decade plus here. So it's not as easy to replace as some might think. But, if you get creative and find a way to utilize some of the leverage, then maybe you can find a way to, remain competitive and also be building for the future. But again, I mean, we've said this before. Connor Hellebuyck has a great chance to, if a deal does not materialize imminently, Hellebuyck, I think, is going to have, I wouldn't be surprised if he had the best year of his life next year. I mean, that's literally how I view him, having 2 additional months off, even in a year where he was taxed, played in the Olympics, had his first injury. This guy's driven to succeed. So I would say that the Jets will have to be blown away for him to be moved still. That's still where I'm at. You're muted, my man.
It's also going to have to depend a lot on what's happening in front of him, whether he's in Winnipeg or whether he's elsewhere. I mean, you show me a Brandon Bussey, I'll throw Brandon Bussey onto the Maple Leafs last year or some of these other teams, and we're probably not having this incredible story about it. But listen, if something like this happens and there's not a goalie coming back, holy smokes, will that be... we'll be going around the NHL shopping list quite a bit here in Winnipeg. But, of course, we're going to talk draft next week and be all over this story going forward. Kenny, good luck on the links. We'll have to get around in soon. Thanks very much for doing this today, pal, and we'll look forward to catching up with you next week.
Yes, sir. Hassan on the way out. Obviously, Nikolai Ehlers, unreal showing by him. Obviously he tugged on the heartstrings of Winnipeggers. I mean, this has been evident for anyone who's talked to him at any time. I was lucky enough to talk to him in November before he got to Winnipeg. Loved his time here and had just an incredible showing. And lastly, for folks who have been listening to about the Ryan Craig being hired by Vegas, I mean, this is a guy with some serious Manitoba connections. Huss, former Brandon Wheat Kings captain. He spends his summers in Clear Lake. This is a guy who's an honorary Manitoban and has worked 9 years in the organization to get this opportunity. So I know a lot of people are surprised that John Tortorella is out the door, but I think Ryan Craig is a guy who was groomed for the job, and I think he'll do an exceptional job in taking over in Vegas with a team that still is very much in their window of contention.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, we'll look forward to more talk about the draft. Craig, I mean, I'm not surprised that Torts is gone. I think he's the perfect fixer to come in. If they'd won the cup, it would have been hard not to give him an extension. And I don't think Craig would have been able to go in and do what Torts did with 8 games left in the season. That gives him a fresh start going forward. And hey, that organization knows what they're doing, so it should be a good one. Kenny, have a great one.
Yeah. And last of the last. We finally locked down a date, July 19th, for the Kenny and Rennie year-ender, Huss. For more information, contact Rennie and myself, and we'll try to get you down there for it.
There you go. Do you have a venue?
We will be having it at Flame and Comfort, one of our sponsors there. So it should be a fun night.
Okay, right on, buddy. Take it easy. Thanks so much.
Have a great day. Thanks for having me, man.
Okay, there is our pal Ken Wiebe of the Winnipeg Free Press. As I mentioned, tomorrow, big day. Get your red on, support Canada, all your local Boston pizzas. If you don't have your jersey yet or you want to get one, Royal Sports is your World Cup headquarters. They have so much World Cup gear, not just for Canada, but I hope you will purchase the Canada stuff. All the countries from the top teams around the world, scarves, jerseys, flags, hats, you name it, they've got it. So head on down to Royal before tomorrow. Get your red on. Pop by your local Boston Pizza for the Canada Red watch parties. And while you're at Royal, you can check out soccer, softball, baseball, tennis, best selection of footwear, casual, and running. And, of course, a massive selection of bikes as well. Royals at 750 Pembina Highway. Follow them on Instagram at Royal Sports Winnipeg for the latest merchandise drops and sale information. Goldeyes are back in action on Friday. Big series coming up. It's Scott Oak night at the ballpark. They're also playing on Saturday, and then a Father's Day matinee with a bucket hat giveaway. Our pal Andrew Collier is going to actually join us live at BP tomorrow. Talk a little fish and set up the weekend. But if you haven't already, gang, please get your tickets for WST Patio Party Night at the ballpark. It's Tuesday, June 30th. Next day is Canada Day, so you can floor it as much as you want. And tickets are available right now at winnipegsportstalk.com. So get those now while they're good. A great time to get outside the city over these next few weeks and months. And if you are planning your next adventure, make sure to start with Travel Manitoba. Whether you're searching for trip inspiration, hidden gems, or the latest festivals and events, everything you need is waiting at travelmanitoba.com. Looking for ideas on the go? Follow along on social media at Travel Manitoba for real-time inspiration, local tips, and can't-miss experiences from across the province. And if you prefer a personal touch, stop by the Visitor Information Center at the Forks in Winnipeg. They're back at the Post tonight for Assiniboia Downs at 7:30. We will get to our picks a little bit later on. Right now, though, we got the U.S. Open starting tomorrow at Shinnecock, and it is always a pleasure to welcome in my man and seatmate, World Cup veteran, soccer guy extraordinaire, Geoff Fienberg. And not just soccer guy extraordinaire, public transportation guy, Geoff Fienberg. Man, it was great seeing you on Friday, and that's a day and experience I won't forget for a long, long time, buddy.
Yeah, what a day. Secured the point thanks to your rally dog. We brought that point home. Excited for tomorrow. Authentic footy experience, a 1-1 draw.
It was, that was sort of the kickoff, the start. I am interested after being there, but being around the city, are you getting much more of a World Cup feel being in? I know it's probably not in your neighborhood as much, but, it was wild seeing all the Bosnians downtown. And I think Ghana is playing tomorrow. We got the Black Stars coming in. It really is something that, it's special and does not come around very often, bringing people from all corners of the world to your backyard.
So I got to admit, on the days without the games, like I was down there, Huss, around the stadium where we met up before, Monday and Tuesday for some content stuff down there, and it was pretty calm. It was normal. But today's a game day, so I imagine it's pretty intense and all shut down again, even though it's not a Canada game. I think the closures are probably pretty intense. I'm kind of jealous. Like, I had such a good time. I'm kind of like jealous of people who are going to be down and around the game tonight, because I think it'll be a blast.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Like, I was watching, it was funny. I was talking to my friends in Kansas City last night, and they were telling me just how, and I mean, KC, this is a good soccer spot. When I was down in 2010, they played every game on a massive screen in the Plaza and Light District. and they were trying to plant their flag as a place to get World Cup games, which obviously was successful. But no one in KC was ready for the Argentines coming in. I mean, it's unlike anything that they've ever seen. And I think that's going to be continuing over the next couple of weeks with all these group stage matches before we get to the playoff round. But anyways, it was such a fun time. If anyone has a chance to get to one of the games in any of the venues, I urge you to do it. You will not regret it. Let's talk about things that we will be regretting on Monday. Guys were betting in the U.S. Open at Shinnecock. Before we get to the leaders, I know you obviously did the extravaganza yesterday on Pizzola's channel and talk about it with Pat and Tim. For people that have kind of just been, the U.S. Open's coming up, have done no work, like what do we need to know about this course? The U.S. Open is always the toughest challenge in golf. What awaits the best in the world when they get to Shinnecock tomorrow in the first tee?
I mean, every year the U.S. Open, we probably wax poetic about how hard a course is, but this one, this is as hard as they get, Huss. Well, 3 guys have finished under par here. This is just an absolute brute at Shinnecock. What I do think, which will be different than a lot of U.S. Opens, Huss, is normally my betting strategy for the U.S. Open is pretty simple. I just want a betting card of guys that sort of remind me of Dustin Johnson, that do the sort of things that Dustin Johnson can do, even in a poor man's version. Just hit it long, beat up a golf course. I don't think that's possible here. And, with the wind conditions that we're going to get, I expect this thing to maybe play more like an Open Championship than a U.S. Open historically. And for that, I mean, I think there's so much variance that's going to play into this thing. And normally I'm so limited in who I think could win these sorts of tournaments. I think the barn door is open, deeper down the odds board for a lot of guys. We're going to see a lot of great players. The first time you open your leaderboard, I think there's going to be a lot of great players who have already blown their way out of this thing. So it's the U.S. Open. It's Father's Day. All of us, average dads, below average dads, slightly above average dads, we get to ask golf and we get to watch golf. We don't even have to feel guilty about it. And when the U.S. Open is at its best to me, Huss, it is the best major championship. It's not as perfect and pristine as the Masters. It's these guys, makes them want to pull their hair out, some of them, and I love it.
I love the point that you made when you guys were talking about Tyrrell Hatton on Monday's show, in that, he's always on the verge of a meltdown. And this is the event where all the rest of the crowd join him at that spot. He's used to it. Everyone else is probably going to get pushed to areas that they never normally are on tour. Composure is going to be important, but most of all, you got to be accurate. You got to be long. You got to be accurate. You need the full bag working. Odds right now, we've got Scheffler. This is a cool bet. Scheffler's at 550. Rory's at 1150. I'm a little surprised at the gap between the two of those, to be honest, based on what we've seen this year. Then John Rahm at 1350. You got Xander and Cam Young, Matty Fitz and Fleetwood, all basically between 18 and 20. Of that group, full disclosure, I've taken Xander. Xander's a former major winner. I mean, an unbelievable all-around game, and a guy that has been automatic at the U.S. Open. He's T10, 5 of his last 7 events at the U.S. Open. He has his worst finish is 14th if you're looking for a top 20. But of that group, and Cam Young's been so good this year, some question marks on him right now. I mean, if you were picking one guy under 20-1, where do you land on?
So I really do like your lean with Xander. He's got the bag. The bag you speak of, he's sort of got as even throughout the bag for an elite player as we have. I lean Rory McIlroy, Huss. I did not make a bet down here. I do have a Cam Young future. I've had them for all the majors thus far this year. It's my last one. So if he doesn't get it this one, then I'll like those great CLV fancy Cam Young numbers I've been snickering about, all for nothing. I got a nice one at 70-1, but if you're asking me to make a bet here today, it would probably be Rory, and then after that, it would be a decision between Xander and Matt Fitzpatrick, because you have to, I mean, hitting the green here, I think happened last time at a 53% clip, Huss. Everyone's going to miss the green. You have to be pretty creative and get up and down. And, you know, when it comes to it, to keep your momentum on the weekend, you're probably going to have to make some incredible par saves. And the guys that are the best at doing that are probably going to be, you know, the guys near the top. And of this group, like, I feel like Matt Fitzpatrick and Xander Schauffele would I'd have as much confidence in them as any. I would also say you could argue maybe the drift on Scotty now. What are we talking about? Like incredible short game, accuracy. I mean, everything we've said about this place sort of would think that it leans into a Scotty Scheffler event as well.
I mean, if you're betting Scheffler, I mean, 550 with this event in this field.
It's hard. It's hard. And Huss, I see some people out there who are incredible prop bettors, and they're making like huge bets on reliable players, you know, to finish top 20. And part of me is like, okay, I get it. But at the same time, like the wind is supposed to get so stupid that, like, no fault of your own. I'm not trying to like make excuses for someone who's going to make a losing bet, but it just feels like luck in getting on that course and God, you know, the golf gods being on your side. I'm telling you, the guy with the best score tomorrow, the announcers are going to say, oh, look, he was on the course during that like 120-minute pocket where the winds were down the most and he took advantage. Yeah. Takes a little luck to fall in that window.
No, 100%. And listen, over the course of the entire tournament, maybe that evens out. But if it is windy, do we naturally, I mean, you mentioned it might feel more like the Open Championship. Do we look to some of these Brits? I mean, Bobby Mack, 65. Shane Lowry, 65. Hatton, 40-1. I love Vic Hovland. I got a piece of him at 40 right now. You know, do you give more thought to some of those players, Fitz, Tommy Fleetwood, because of what we are likely going to get Thursday and potentially through the tourney?
Yeah. Huss, we've been doing this a long time. I put out a betting card this week that's probably unlike any U.S. Open or even major championship betting card I ever put out. I'm like flooding the zone. I kind of feel like the more names I can bet, the better. So I just like totally attacked the middle of this board. And you mentioned a few of those names. And Victor Hovland's approach play was outstanding here last week. So if he's, you know, going to be great with the approaches, that's wonderful. Victor Hovland chipping is always a bit of a concern. So, you know, you hope to get lucky there. I'd be upset to miss Victor's win, but I'd be thrilled for him. But I like just peppered this thing. Victor Hovland, Patrick Reed, Chris Gotterup, Hideki Matsuyama. I got futures on Tyrrell Hatton and Jaakko Niemann to go with my Cam Young future. And every other bet I made this week is right in the middle of that range. Still thinking about adding, like you mentioned, Robert McIntyre, because I do agree with a lot of your sentiment. Well, if you think Colin Morikawa is maybe healthy, you know, I'd argue maybe there's worth a chance I'll bet at him. But I'd rather bet like Morikawa than Bryson. And that should almost like tell you what I'm thinking. Now, That doesn't mean like we can't have a bomber. I don't think the bombers are going to have success. I got a couple great American bombers I'm betting. Gotterup and Cam Young. But I just think like the shot makers are real live here. And I'll think about the guys I bet. Like, if it's going to get stupid, if this course is going to get ridiculous, There's no one in the world I want money on. There's not like 5 players in the world I want money on more than like Tyrell Hatton and Patrick Reed. And you can go further down the board. I missed like the 150s this week, but Cam Young's and Cameron Smith. He's now like dropped just beneath 100. But if it's going to get like silly and stupid and it's going to be this war of attrition, those guys you can get up and down from Mars who you trust with like high level ceiling play, that's who you want to have money on. And as I say that, like who more represents that than Hideki Matsuyama?
Yeah, no kidding.
Right? So that's just where I am. But be it you want Mav McNeely, you want Shane Lowry, like this is where I am. And we've been doing this a long time. I don't think I've ever done this in a major. Yes, I have a Cam Young future, but I never don't make bets at the top. And that doesn't mean I don't think the top are going to win. I just think like the variance this week, could allow for some just more life. And, guys at 45 to me are just as live as some of the guys at 20. But I told you if I had to make a move up there, it'd be Rory and then a decision between like Xander and Fitz. So I like where your head is at.
Just before we go, Bryson, like you would think US Open is like the Shambo time. He has been like, I saw him earlier in the week in the 20s and was higher. He's at 30 right now. Why, just thoughts on Bryson and why do people seem to be fading the big guy who can hit it as far as anyone?
Well, so I think it goes to a couple things I've already mentioned, that we feel like this thing could play maybe more like an Open Championship than a U.S. Open. And, when I mentioned how I bet U.S. Opens in the past, I made that comment about DJ, like Bryson would fit right in that. He's won, he's a 2-time U.S. Open champion. He can bully a golf course. He can bomb and gouge his way around them. And he's a world-class putter for a player of that skill set. If the putter, the putter's going to have to be incredible though this week, Huss. I don't know. He's never really been a guy who's been too strategic around golf courses lately, and his wedges have just been atrocious. So if he's going to be missing his spots, he's a tough guy to trust. That being said, if Bryson DeChambeau wins this week, Hustler, I think it'd be one of the most impressive victories in a really long time. Really long time, because think about it like this. All these guys out there, they're professional golfers. This pro golf thing is his side hustle. Not only that, John Rahm gets to the podium and he's like, I'm not a businessman. I'm a golfer. I don't know anything about that. Don't ask me about that. Bryson wants to be in pitch decks to save Liv. He's got his YouTube. He's got Saving Liv. This is your wife's friend who's got an Etsy side hustle, who's crushing it. So if the guy with the side hustle is going to come in and win the U.S. Open, that's a bad look for all these guys. No, he's so good at golf, I'm not surprised if he wins. He's freaking Bryson. But his number's going up because I think there's a lot of groupthink around it. I went into the week I didn't even consider him for my outrights.
Fienberg, awesome stuff. Again, great seeing you last week. Folks, if you want more, check out Monday's Pat Mayo experience with Jeff and Tim. They go through the entire U.S. Open. And if you want more of our trip, he goes through that, including Jeff's version of the bathroom incident that we talked about earlier this week. Lots of love for Fienberg in the men's can. And
lots of love for you out there too, Huss.
Yeah, well, listen, that was such a great time. And then yesterday, just plug, was it the Hammer Network? I mean, you're just bringing all the guys with their favorite prop bet?
Yeah, Hammer Betting Network, 2 hours, just, guest every 8 minutes or so. Got a favorite prop bet of everybody. Tons of fun. So you can hit that up, you skip through it, find the people you like, pass through the people you don't like, whatever, choose your own adventure. That's part of the fun after the fact.
Buddy, thanks so much for doing this. Great seeing you again. Enjoy the U.S. Open and a happy Father's Day in advance.
Oh, thanks, Huss. Thanks, Huss. No, my wife's, this one, me and my dad, just leave us alone. Good time.
Right on. There he is, Geoff Fienberg. Got G Fienberg 17 on X. And again, you can check Jeff's content at the Hammer Betting Network. And the Pat Mayo Experience. Speaking of Patty's coming on. We got a lot to talk about. But if you do want more, if you missed it when we did it live yesterday morning, our WST winners U.S. Open content with our favorite outrights, value plays, and more is up right now at the Winnipeg Sports Talk YouTube channel. And you can check our socials for a little summary of our favorite picks. The bets are all live right now up at Coolbet, and we'll fill you in on a couple of the combos that we put together. Want to shout out our friends at Aikens Lake. You know, I want to give a shout out actually to Pitt Turan, our good friend Pitt from Aikens, actually texted me yesterday and told me that he had just said goodbye to a loyal listener of WST, Colin Manson. Shout out to Colin. He's an ex-Winnipegger that lives in Minnesota, but a big Jets fan who uses Winnipeg Sports Talk to stay current. And he'd heard us talking about Aikens Lake and booked because he'd heard us on the show. So Pitt was just saying a thank you to us. I say thank you to Colin for listening, and I hope you had a great time. Tell you what, looking at everything that's been coming out of Aikens in the last couple of weeks since we were there, I can almost assure you that he had a great time. If you want more information on availability for the remainder of the 2026 fishing season, check him out online at aikenslake.com or on all the socials at Aikens Lake. We're going to be talking a lot of golf over the next couple of days as we follow the U.S. Open with our Breezy Bend golf reports. One more sleep before they tee off tomorrow. Get your picks in. And, of course, if you are thinking about golfing, you and your family looking for a great long-term home at one of Winnipeg's top private courses, check out Breezy Bend. breezybend.ca online or 895-7205. Ask for our pal Corey Johnson. You won't regret it. All right, Patty is locked and loaded. He's going to join us just ahead of kickoff with England and Croatia in the World Cup. First up, though, let's go give a big cheers to our friends at Winnipeg's favorite local brewery, Little Brown Jug.
You train day in and day out, learning new techniques, approaching new concepts, and living out the thrill of achieving your goals. Building a craft beer is no different. While you spend your hours on the ice, we spend ours here, brewing our trademark beer. Again, and again. Here's to pushing the status quo and challenging ourselves to build something memorable. 1919 by Little Brown Jug.
Love the quote from the comment from Ishaboy Bruce. I'm not even a big golf guy, but Geoff always gets me hyped up about it anyways. Always have Geoff on. And another WST fan favorite, our pal Pat Gregoire from the Polar Bear Coolbet joins us now. Patty, oh man, it was fun getting ready for another major with you and Jake yesterday. And it's funny, I am so dialed in right now on the World Cup. I'm glad we know, and I've locked my bets in because I can see myself getting so into everything that's happening with the soccer, forgetting before tomorrow morning. But good time for me to remind everybody, another free contest at Coolbet for the U.S. Open. You just got to predict the scores of 6 matchups. It's in the Coolbet leagues right beside where we do the CFL pick'em for the trip to the Grey Cup. First place is $500. All you have to do is have an account to do it. It's completely free, so make sure to get your picks in. And again, the key to finishing in the money is making your picks for every round. I've already put in about an 11 p.m. reminder. Did you put your picks in to pop up? So I won't be missing it like I did the first time. Pat, what's going on? I know the NBA's done and the NHL's done, but I am loving every minute of this as a sports fan right now.
Yeah, this is supposed to be the dog days of summer. This is supposed to be where, you collect the brownie points with the misses and maybe you go to a farmer's market or whatever it may be. Maybe you see the fellows a little more for a little golf. But yeah, I've been absolutely glued to the tube, man. The soccer's been great because you get a little taste of a matinee soccer, and then you get the prime time games. Heck, we had a game on at midnight here in Toronto over on the West Coast. So, I mean, I've been loving every second of it. A major is just upon us. Well, the U.S. Open tomorrow, CFL kicking off. Yeah, it's a great time to be a sports fan. There's no doubt about that.
Hey, shout out to everyone that rode with me yesterday on that one that we put together at the start of the show. We got the wins by the French, the Norwegians, and Argentina, and we got the 2 goals from Haaland. That one was boosted to plus 625. And as I just said, coming into the England game, Patty, don't let the Husk get hot. But I had the draw in Portugal-Congo at plus 450. So
love it.
I'm really taking, I know I was sort of a faux soccer guy that had been to some events and had seen it. I'm becoming more legit by the day here at this World Cup, and I'm really looking forward to what's to come a little bit later on today. England and Croatia about to get going. Just before we move over and talk a little bit of golf, I will tell people that the games today, obviously England kicking off, they were a favorite over Croatia. Minus 143 is where they are at right now as they kick off. Really looking forward to this game that's in your backyard. Toronto Stadium tonight. Ghana and Panama. Those will be 2 fan bases that'll be going hard. The Black Stars. Love the African fans. Some wild scenes from the Congo game earlier today. And then 9 o'clock game tonight. Uzbekistan and Colombia. Colombia, a big favorite on that. If you go to the combo cards, we got plenty for the World Cup, and as we'll talk about in a minute, we cooked up some good stuff for the golf tomorrow as the U.S. Open gets going. Patty, listen, I want to dive in and we'll get into some of these, but I've been waiting to have you on this week, and we teased this on WST Winners yesterday, but I have people all the time asking me about the Costa Rica trip and the promo, and I've been kind of coy about it. I said, hey, yeah, it was unbelievable. Hopefully we can do that again in the winter, but stay tuned because we've got something that might even trump the Costa Rica trip, and it is happening right now. The WST Summer Poker Series, where we will qualify 2 people at each event, 4 tournaments, who will go into the final. And well, those people will have anywhere from, 8, 10, 1 in 12 chance to go to the Coolbet Open in Estonia. You guys have showed me the pictures and stuff before. This looks like the trip to go to for poker fans. And what in a wild part of the world just across the sea from Finland at HQ.
Yeah, it's considered one of the best poker tournaments in the Nordics, in Northern Europe. And it's more than just a poker tournament, Huss. It really is a festival from September 1st to 6th in Tallinn, Estonia, at the Olympic Casino. In beautiful downtown Tallinn, and we're excited for it. I was there last year the first time. It was an unbelievable event. Like I said, all throughout the week, there's more than just the main event. Poker golf tournament, different cash games, parties, you name it. It's a ton of fun. And yeah, you're going to have a chance with our Coolbet WST Open Qualifier Series. And we've got the first date already set. We've got all the dates set, but you can actually sign up for the first qualifier right now at Coolbet in the poker software. Qualifier number 1 will go down Tuesday, June 23rd, 8 p.m. Central, and the first 2 winners, so the top 2 finishers, will get a ticket to the Canadian Coolbet Final, and that's going to go on either Tuesday, August the 11th or the 12th. That date will be named shortly here, but then our second qualifier will be the Wednesday, July the 8th. Tuesday, July the 21st is the 3rd, and then the last chance qualifier Wednesday, August the 5th at 8 p.m. All those at 8 p.m. Each and every tournament, you'll get 2 entries there. Maybe a prize for the marble race or something on social media. Maybe we'll give a couple of extra tickets out as well as it gets on. But the usual, around $30 entry, it's $20 euros. The same rules with the 8-minute levels, unlimited re-entries for the first 8 levels. And then, of course, we're still going to have the bounties on our usual suspects as well. If a trip to Tallinn, Estonia, or a chance to get there wasn't enough for you, you can win a little bit of scratch as well, going head-to-head with Huss and Remo and the rest of the crew.
I cannot wait for this. And we had played on Wednesdays before. Because it's the summer, we wanted to spread these out every couple weeks. We know you might be on holidays one day. And listen, some people have men's night on Tuesday. Some people play softball on Wednesday. So we mix them up between Tuesday and Wednesday. So again, Tuesday, June 23rd, Wednesday, July 8th, Tuesday, July 21st, and then the last chance qualifier, Wednesday, August 5th. And then the following week will be the final. Probably be 10, maybe 12 people. This is not going to be a big tournament. And if you win it, you'll be on your way, flown out to Estonia, wined and dined, and hopefully you can take a piece out of some of the top players out in Scandinavia. We'll have details on our social channels. We'll put it out in the newsletter as well. But just mark those dates down. If you played with us before or you want to, just go to Coolbet. And then again, top of the screen, it's poker. You load up the poker software, go into tournaments. And if you just put in WST in the little magnifying glass, it'll pop up. You can lock it in, get your entry in, and we will see you for the first qualifying night, June 23rd. So that's next Tuesday for our first event. Going to be a heck of a lot of fun. Patty, obviously we spent a lot of time talking golf yesterday with all of our picks, but as we now know who we've locked in, just before we get to some of the specials that we put together as a team, anyone else getting steam in your mind as we go through, or are we just basically locked and loaded and like the players bracing for what Shinnecock and Mother Nature have for the world's best tomorrow in round one of the U.S. Open?
Listen, you guys kind of touched on it with Bryson. Like I'm not, I don't think I'm betting him, but we continue to see his number drift a little bit. He's 30-1 right now. I've seen even bigger numbers on some other sports books. I do think there's maybe a little bit of steam, some sharp action that did come on him at Coolbet. That's maybe preventing his number to fade out of some other spots like what we're seeing. But, looking at him, I feel like this is the week because no one's talking about him, because there isn't any steam really on him right now. That might be the week to do it. But I just don't know, with the amount that I have bet on him over the last few majors and the heartbreak that I've had, like the last two out. I mean, the guy didn't even make the cut. So I don't know how you could put your hard-earned money, but as Geoff said, and I won't be able to eloquently say it as well as he did, that was a hilarious segment. But would you be surprised if he did it? Absolutely not. But how focused, how dialed in is he really right now? Where's the mind set at? We talked about it. Everyone goes crazy here. Like Hatton is the ultimate head case for this, but everyone's on Hatton's level. Like I just don't know if DeChambeau can really deal with what Shinnecock is about to give him, because if his calculations of where he's supposed to hit the ball or putt the ball is off, that's going to send his mind into an absolute tizzy. So no, I think I'm going to hold pat with the guys that we talked about yesterday.
I know everyone's loving the boosts that we pump up for WSTers, and especially those of you that were on that Soccer Beauty yesterday. Just made it that much better. A little bit more for what we've got cooking in the exclusives for the golf. We put together 3 parlays, and what's interesting is that for this tournament, because it's so big and a major, we'll often do top 20s. There's also top 30s and top 40s. So here's where we finished up. First of all, my favorite one, we got to this one early. Our guy, Sudarshan Yelamaraju, to be top Canadian, and Tyrrell Hatton to be top live golfer. That one's boosted from 1760 to over 20-1. And I love Hatton at 5-1 for top live, and I love Sudarshan as the top Canadian. Our top 20 play is Xander Schauffele, who has been 7 straight U.S. Opens in the top 20. Cameron Young and Chris Goddard, that's got a nice boost from 723 to 10-1. And then this is a wild boost, Pat. The top 31 we put together has Ricky Fowler, Sepp Straka, and Kurt Kitayama, all top 30. I haven't seen a boost like this maybe ever before. 1425 to 25-1. We'll take it.
The fellas were feeling generous on that one.
I was about to say, they certainly were. And then our top 40 for a few longer shots, Johnny Kiefer, a guy I think might be able to assert himself well. Ryan Fox, who won the RBC last week, contended again last week. And Sung Jae Im, who when he's on can be there. That one plus 1772 to 19-1. And then, of course, we do have the Greggy Golf special right at the end. I like these two. They're 2-day bets. It's to make the cut. Henley, Burns, Fox, and Yelamaraju boosted from plus 560 to plus 645. So all of those are up in the combo cards for people to look at and work. And I mean, if you go right now to the U.S. Open page, you got round 1, round 2, interestingly enough. You can get on that beforehand if you'd like. And then the full array of props and future bets that it'll take you a while to get through them all. So with tee off tomorrow, you probably want to get on it right away. We got soccer, the World Cup, and tomorrow we should quickly hit on Canada's game. Of course, Canada, Patty, is a pretty big favorite against Qatar. The number right now, as I pop it up, is minus 323. The draw plus 480, Qatar 11-1. This is one that Canada absolutely has to have. But we've got goal scorers, player specials. We realize how big soccer is around the world when you see how many markets there are for all World Cup games, not just Canada at home.
Yeah, it's really awesome to see. And I think there are a lot of betting angles. I think a lot of folks are going to kind of have to get a bit creative if you want to support Canada because they are such a heavy favorite. Minus 323 for them, minus a goal. It's minus 113. But there are a lot of other options. You can go into the goal scorers, the first goal scorers, player shots. Goalkeeper saves. You can even dive into that, which I think is a pretty cool market considering we don't see many saves in the game of soccer. But the one that I was looking at here, that is, where did I pull it up here? Into player specials. Any substitute to score a goal plus 150. I absolutely love that. Whether it's Kyle Larin coming into the game, Jacob Schaffelberg, heck, maybe even do we maybe see Alphonso Davies get into a game? So that one there, plus 150, you're getting plus money for a Canada team that at one point, with all these injuries, we thought depth could be challenged, where in fact, I thought the depth of the team was the reason why they ended up tying that game. It saved us, right? So I think that's a big one there. So not the juiciest numbers, not looking like our top 30 parlay, but something that's fun. And again, I mean, of course we don't want it to, but it also could cash too if a guy comes off the bench for Qatar and scores a goal. But hopefully it's more on the Canadian side.
No, we're just going to pile them up. A fun one for all you instant replay guys. There's a VAR prop for the game. Any decision to be changed by the referee after VAR review? Yes, plus 120. Seen a lot of that so far. And of course, we'll get a bunch of exclusives up for tomorrow. So make sure to check the combo cards and the exclusives. Patty, great stuff as always. Just quickly before we go, Jay's got the win. The Tartan Army's taken over Boston.
I love it.
All the soccer fans in the ballpark is so great. But we do have the Blue Jays tonight as they continue their series against the Boston Red Sox. Jays plus 108 tonight. Red Sox minus 132. Looks like it's Braden Fisher.
Yeah, sure. It was just announced Scherzer was put to the DL as I was just getting on.
Oh, wow. And then Jake Bennett going for the Red Sox tonight. So if you're looking for a little
back
baseball.
spasms. It's back spasms that he was dealing with before. Must have been today at warm up or whatever it was, but certainly a cause for concern for Jays fan.
We have a quick update as you leave. Harry Kane from the spot.
Yes.
I
had that.
Yeah, well, there you go. They let the winners continue. I can't wait to watch the rest of this game and make it happen. But again, we're sending somebody to Estonia for the Coolbet Open. It is going to be amazing. 4 tourneys starting next Tuesday. Lock it in, everybody. And do not forget to get your picks in. U.S. Open pool, completely free. CFL Weekly Pick'em, completely free. It is all there under Coolbet Leagues. Again, bottom left corner on a desktop, under Sports, you'll see Coolbet League. Click that. If you're on your mobile, go to the bottom. You'll see more. Click on that, and then Sports, slide it. You'll see it. Make it happen. Patty, let's get some winners in this U.S. Open. Keep it rolling with Canada tomorrow against Qatar. And good times coming up. Can't wait for Tuesday and the big poker tourney. Have a great one, pal, and thanks for doing this.
Don't forget, get your CFL Pick'em League picks in as well. Only 30 people have put in their week 3 picks. You got to get them in, of course. It doesn't matter if you join late. You can still win some prizes. But if you want that top prize, if you want to go to the Grey Cup, you're going to have to make your picks almost each and every week, because I'll be honest, when you look at the overall standings, there are some heavy hitters that have been collecting points early and often in this CFL
If you
season.
nail a game, though, you can make it up real quick. And thank you for the reminder. And I just looked. There it is. CFL Coolbet League picks. Make them. Don't miss out. I will lock mine in. And should be another great week. 4 of those games, of the 3 games, and we went through this all on CFL 110 this morning, 3 of the games are pick'ems. I mean, the games have been so tight. I mean, you got Montreal 4-point favorites against the Elks, and basically the other ones are all money line. BC minus 114, Hamilton minus 106, Argos minus 114, Red Blacks minus 106, Saskatchewan minus 115, Calgary minus 105. We will have our CFL 110 parlay up. It is not up yet. They're just going through the boosting process. We're riding with BC, Toronto, and Saskatchewan, all 3 road teams in those pick'ems, and it'll be somewhere in excess of 6-1. Patty, enjoy the England match in the U.S. Open. See you in the group chat.
We'll talk later. Thanks again for everything, guys.
Right on. There is Pat Gregoire from Coolbet. Coolbet.com is where you'll find it all. If you want to play a little Coolbet poker before our tourney, go nuts. But again, Tuesday, for all you poker players, we'll see you for the first qualifier for the Coolbet Open. How cool is that going to be, Reem? Do you have that video of of all the stuff going on in Estonia, man? It's cool to show people if we can.
Yeah, I have it right here. Let me just bring it up right now. Yes, here it is, Estonia.
That is a really interesting part of the year, and I guess it is part of the world. I never knew. I mean, I remembered Estonia. I just thought of Encino Man originally when we'd seen it, but it is right across Tallinn, right across the Black Sea, Baltic Sea, from Finland. So there's the Cool Bear. He's having a great time. These tourneys, though, like, are big league. It was so neat seeing it in Costa Rica about, how they work, how they're run. And then there's all sorts of cool ancillary events around it. And I know Pat's going to be there. Andrew's going to be there. So the Canadian winner's going to probably be invited to a couple pretty nice outings as well, in addition to everything going on. There's the Coolbet guy that runs the poker. So there's some other great events that I saw on social media, but that is that's what we're cooking up with Pat and the boys. First qualifier is Tuesday, and September 1 to 6. You might be needing to book those days off if you're heading overseas. Remo, as we transition before finishing up the show, we got to go to the track. And I was 0 for last night. You were not.
Yeah, I logged on last night very late and checked my HPI account, and I was pretty pleased. I won a $1 trifecta box that paid about $33.05. That was on race 5, and I hit race 2 winner. A $5 bet paid $14.50. So I was up yesterday. So I got off to a really slow start, but I've had some good nights like the last 2 weeks here. So I'm feeling a lot better and more confident when making my horse picks.
Nicely done. What have you cooked up today?
Okay, I've got a couple, as I just did. So I'm on the later races. A lot of races tonight, Huss. I am on race 4, 5, 6, 8.
8 races too for tonight.
Yes, race. So let me move this around here. 1 second. Boom. Race 4, I'm on horse 8 to win, Crosati. That's second on the program selection AI Smart Pick, but it's not that much of a less of a favorite against Oregon County. Race 5, I've got a trifecta box 1, 3, 6. This is just the program selection AI Smart Picks, just the thing. Paterson landing and wings of a sparrow. Race 7, 4, 5. Race 6, I am on horse 2 to win, Colonel Mustard. Had to bet on Colonel Mustard. That's third on the program selection AI Smart Picks. But you had that hot dog you got at the World Cup. It was filled with mustard, so I had to bet on Colonel Mustard.
Yeah.
Show the
Team Mustard.
Show the picture. 3, 5, 6. 3, 5, 6. Saxon Saga, Jack Spring Break, and Fort Langley. So that's the top 2 in the program selection. AI Smart Pick with 6. Maybe 6 gets in there and juices the payout here. I don't know if I'll ever hit a $1,000 winner off a $1 bet like you did last year, but I can hope.
That was wild. Is that all of them for you?
Yeah, I'm on 4, 5, 6, and 8.
All right, what do I have for today? I have we're starting off. I don't usually bet race 1. I am tonight. $5 on number 6 to win, Girl from the Bayou. Then moving on to race number 5, we're putting a fin on number 1, Just the Thing. In race number 6, I've got my daily triactor box. We're going 6, 8, 9 in the 6th. Call the Cavalry, McKenna's Joy, and I had to roll with Main Dude.
Yeah, Main Dude.
Main Dude. There's no way I wasn't gonna put Main Dude on my card. And then I do have a $2 exactor box, so a $4 bet. Race 7. We're going 2 and 9. Paco's Pico and Chicago's Gray. If you do want to watch the races, you can do it live on YouTube if you can't make it out. But it is Western night. We were out there on a Wednesday a couple weeks ago. Great stuff. They got line dancing after a couple of the races. They got the mechanical bull. So all sorts of fun tonight. If you're looking for something to do, get out to Assiniboia Downs, 7:30 post time. And maybe we'll have some winners for you as well. Great show today, Reem, and I'm really pumped tomorrow to get her to BP Taylor. I watched the Messi masterpiece last night at BP Taylor. We had one of the MVP platters. It was outstanding. And we're going to be getting there early, having a little lunch, and then firing up the show at 1 p.m. So if people are around and they want to come out or maybe come towards the end of the show and set up before the Canada-Qatar game, you're all welcome. And again, your local BP is going to be the place to be tomorrow. Wherever you are in Winnipeg or Southern Manitoba with the Canada Red watch parties at your local BP. And wait till you see the size of this FIFA World Cup soccer ball they got from Royal Sports. It's got to be 5 or 6, probably 4 feet across, but it fits perfectly in the holder for an extra large pizza. We will have that in the background of the show tomorrow for sure, as well as the new TVs they got put in, which are phenomenal. But should be a good one tonight. Any big plans? Are you back on the soccer pitch with 3 and 4 year olds or what?
Yeah, it's my son's grade 1 graduation tonight, so I'm going.
Where's that at the PAL?
Yeah, at the PAL. No, it's just at their school. They just have a little concert going on. So we got that, celebrating the kids. We got my daughters on Sunday as well, practicing. So exciting times. But here, Huss, we do have a minor trade to announce that just happened, as it is the NHL offseason. And we've talked about how the Sharks need defensemen because they don't have any under contract. They have acquired Michael Kesselring and the 27th pick in the draft from Buffalo for the 20th pick.
Okay.
So here's the trade. Chris Johnston reporting this.
I like it. A little moving. And Kesselring.
I like this trade.
Kesselring was who came over with Josh Doan from Utah, right?
That's correct.
Man, a little surprised. Again, you move up 7 spots. Buffalo they had a lot of guys. We'll see what that means. I don't think they'll be re-signing Luke Shen. Probably not Stan, considering the way things ended. But they've got some room. But we know the top dogs on that Sabres blue line, though. They aren't going anywhere.
He didn't play the Kesselring. He didn't play for them in the playoffs. And people thought that he should have played. They did roll with the Stan Shen pairing, but they've got Darlene, Power, Byram. Those guys are locked in. Matthias Samuelsson under a number of seasons, and now Timmins and Metza, both age 27. They've got one more year of those guys. So there was Kesselring, odd man out. They do have Shen and Stan as UFAs. San Jose has no defenseman under contract, right? Well, they have, let's see, Puckpedia has, they have Orlov, Dickinson, Matthias Havlid, and Luka Cagnoni. So they got a bunch of young guys on ELCs. I'm assuming Dickinson's the only one there. And now Kesselring is an RFA, too.
Oh, so they have to sign him to a deal as well. So that's another part of it.
Yeah.
And just on Bowen Byram, he is signed for this year, but he has an expiring contract. So 1 year left. Does he just go to free agency? Does he get moved? Does he sign an extension? That's another question to find out. But Matthias Samuelsson, Owen Power, and Rasmus Dahlin all signed for 4 or more years in Buffalo. And Kesselring on the way for a 7-spot move up in the draft for the Buffalo Sabres. That is going to do it for us, gang. Going to get back. They've just finished a hydration break. I think I'm going to go visit the lads down at the pub to watch World Cup in a proper environment for this England game, and then see what's happened tonight. The game from Toronto I'm looking forward to, Ghana versus Panama. Thanks to Wiebe, Fienberg, Patty, and of course Rob Gale for jumping on the program today. Tomorrow on the show, we will be live at Boston Pizza. We'll be talking a little draft. Rowicki's going to jump on the program. Andrew Collier from the Gold Eyes is going to jump on. We'll be following Bosnia, Switzerland, getting you ready for Canada, Qatar. And Jake Bullenmoss will join us as well. That's going to do it for us. Have a great one. Thanks to everybody in chat. Shout out to you podcast listeners. Thank you to all of our sponsors. We will see you tomorrow live from BP Taylor with a Thursday edition of Winnipeg Sports Talk. Have a good one.
Oh my God! Oh! Shut it down! Let's go home!
Thanks for tuning in to Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcast feed at winnipegsportstalk.com.